Okay, Bill? Oh, he's muted.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry. Hello, you there? Anybody? Sharon?
Hi there.
Okay.
How are you doing, Bill?
Good, good. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Yeah. Looking forward to some rain maybe, huh?
Hopefully.
Kind of cool that I don't need to water my lawn, which I haven't been doing anyway. Hey, John. Sharon, do you want to allow me to share the screen? Is it open already? Oh, looks like I can. All right, got it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I love that red door.
Yeah, I know. That was the client decided to do that. There was bright purple and green inside the house as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Crazy.
Creative.
Hey, Bill.
Yes, John.
Number one, thank you for taking over this thankless job.
Yes.
And number two, I have a conflict with Westmont, which is item number one.
Okay.
And so as not to overload you, I asked Tip to take charge.
Okay.
And I just want you to know about that.
Sounds good.
Okay. How are you doing otherwise?
Good, good. Yeah, just keeping busy, keeping out of trouble.
Well, I don't think that's the problem these days.
No. No. No, how about you?
Yeah, me too. I'm crushed.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Well, that's all. It's all good. Better than the other, I guess, right?
And then we decided to have our house tented. It's only been 15 years or something. And the gas company came over and looked at our 85-year-old gas pipe. And they said, we're not going to turn on your gas again after the termites.
Oh, great.
So I've got people digging ditches and all that stuff with no hot water, no heat, no cooking. It's been an experience in and of itself.
Well, this is the new world. You know, they're going to get rid of gas, so get used to it, I guess. Huh?
Well, I considered for a while just doing it, but I went on out to look at electric ranges, and they said, warning, there are not that many things out there because of the COVID disruption.
Oh.
So that kind of ended that discussion.
Well, they have electric barbecues and electric fireplaces that use water vapor to create like a look of a flame. I have yet to see it, but I'm anxious to see what we got to deal with coming up.
How about electric chainsaws and any kind of gardening that needs gas?
Yeah. Yeah,
you know, I mean, it literally, well, I mean, it's that industry, my industry,
yeah.
You know, I mean, they're just all the maintenance gardeners are freaking out, you know, because it's going to cost them a lot of money.
Yeah, I've had electric yard tools and they do not last very long. The batteries die way longer than you can run like a trimmer, like a weed whacker. The electric ones just, you blow through batteries.
Yeah, no, I know. Well, the reason I'm talking about is because my gardeners were here yesterday, and they kept running around asking me where could they charge up the batteries.
Oh, yeah. Right.
For this new equipment that only lasts, you know, however long it lasts. They're just besides themselves about this whole thing.
I know it. I know it. Yeah. Well, we'll see how it goes.
Oh, okay. Okay, let's see, is there just, are we here? Yeah,
Yeah,
oh, it's not quite time.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Got a minute, maybe. John's a timekeeper.
I have a clock synced to the Colorado clock.
ECM orange or whatever.
Yeah. Okay, it's 12:45. Megan, are you around anywhere? I don't see you.
Derek Eichelberger's here.
Yeah. Oh,
Derek,
It's his
excuse me.
office.
Keith Rivera, are you here, please? Item C1, 1143 Hill Road.
He's
Anybody?
not here, John.
Okay.
And they don't, but they don't have to be here for consent, right?
No.
Okay.
Well, okay, so let's go ahead and do it. Item number C1, please.
Minutes.
And page PDF 13, please.
Oh,
I'm gonna be, yeah,
that's not
I think,
the-
yeah, I'll thank him too for the rest of the day when he gets back. Let me take up our board meeting.
Thank you for helping.
Taking a little while to come up here. There we go. That was my question too. Thank you, John.
Okay, so I don't think these work.
No.
And the color was an LRV of 86. I don't see why we should be approving that. So what I was thinking about doing is having them, did you think everything else was okay, Bill?
I did not review any landscape if there was any, but
There wasn't any.
Okay, so you're okay, Claire, on item C1?
Well, I mean, I do agree that there's it's questionable about that hanging light fixture.
Well, from a landscape only
Oh.
point of view, are you okay?
Oh, well, yeah, there was no landscape because from looking all the way through, it's all as is, they're not
Okay.
taking anything away.
So what I was thinking about doing is approving with the planner to review with the chair the light fixture and the color. Is that a motion that you guys think you could support?
yes.
Claire?
Yeah, no, that's okay.
Okay. So let's move on. Item C2. Now, I see Derek. Derek, do you have,
Oh, C2, did that get dropped?
uh,
C3, Derek, what are you? What item?
We're the Terry residents. I don't know what number we are.
1338 East Valley Road.
Yeah.
On the agenda, it's C2.
Okay, well, I didn't get any drawings and I thought,
Yeah, no, it's the landscape thing that I think that's why Derek's here.
I didn't see any.
Okay, try C3.
Okay,
Yeah, it would be LP.
oh, okay, there it is. All right.
Okay, so let me read the comments. Nice update to existing structure. Board appreciates removal of paving. One member of the board requested that the planner provide a memo, which she did. That's in our file. So
Yeah,
that's been taken care of. My only comment on it was I saw no information about the size, construction, or detailing of the trellis. Did you see that, Bill?
I did, and I was looking for structure. That was exactly my question. There was no structural drawing. It didn't show size member callouts or any hardware connection here on this.
So do you want to take care of this with the planner? You want me to do it? I'm fine either way.
Are you talking to me?
No, Derek, do you know the size of the trellis, the members?
I don't. The Beckers were detailing that, not us.
Bill, I was talking to Bill, but it's nice to see you, Derek.
Nice to see you, John.
So we approve it with the condition that they return to the chair with the details?
Yeah, and the question is, do you want to take this one or you want me to do it as well?
Oh, I'll take it. Doesn't matter. That's
Okay,
fine.
so let's send that over to you.
Yeah.
It'll be chair or designee, and I'll designate you.
Okay.
So I had nothing else. Claire, did you have anything else on C2, 1338?
No, because once again, there was no landscape plan.
Oh, yes, there was.
Oh, well, I couldn't find it. I didn't see.
There's
Well-
there's a complete landscape plan that I did.
Yeah, I think
I know, but it's not, I didn't see it in the package.
it's L1, 2, and 3.
LP1 is planting.
Oh, well, so then I missed something then. Oh, no, I did. Oh, I'm sorry. A different note, a different project. Yes, I did review this and I don't have any problems with it.
I
That's
didn't
about right.
either, Bill.
I didn't review the landscape, so I'll defer to you.
Okay, so between the three of us, we're okay with this project, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote down yes in my notes, so.
Okay, there's somebody at the bottom of my screen who I don't recognize. Who is that, please?
It might be Megan. She said she hasn't been able to get on.
No,
Oh, it's somebody with glasses.
Is it Mr. Jones? Is it Randy?
No, it's Mark Shellnut,
Oh,
and he just needs to turn on his mic.
But I don't think,
he's not here for that project.
no,
yeah,
he's
okay.
down the road.
So we're okay with C2, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, item C3, Vanguard Planning. I thought I just saw somebody from that.
Bye, guy.
Yeah,
614 Hot Springs Road.
This is one where there was no landscape plan. But I don't think that he's doing any landscaping from what I could tell.
Okay, Bill, did you take a look at this?
I did, and the details were a little slim on the window and door. They kind of just threw the window and door sash and jamb in there and didn't show how they're connecting. I mean, it'd be nice to see where they're finishing, how they're finishing it out. Is it flush to the face? Is it recessed back in?
Let's have them come back.
Yeah. Yeah. Or they could, I mean, we could do a chair review of that detail.
You know, I'm willing to do that for very small things, but we've asked for this, and I don't want people to get used to the fact that they can turn in incomplete drawings. I also had a question about the pool equipment on PDF 8, page 8.
It moved from where it was to, on that page. It's right there. You used to be up above the pool outside of the setback, now it's right along, they've moved it.
Right
And
there.
there's right next to the driveway. I did look at Google Earth for that, and it looks like there's a lot of room to anybody else. So I thought it was okay, but there's no enclosure or anything like that. Did we want that or not? Please.
It looks like
Anybody?
it.
Well, it's enclosed inside of a wall.
I don't see that.
That's not.
Oh, well, and I'm just looking at it. I think there is a wall around that area there, or
No,
No, that's a drainage ditch.
this is a
this is the line. Oh, straw waffles, waffles construction from. Oh, got it. Okay, I misread it as I thought that whole thing was walled off.
No, yes, there's a hedge, it looks like.
There's a hedge, but not.
But as I said, I went out to Google Maps, actually not Google Earth, and it's a pretty good distance till there's anything else close to it. So
As far as the neighbors to that across the way from the existing driveway.
Yeah, I didn't think anybody was going to be able to hear it. That was my assessment.
Yeah, I mean, they put their little mathematics there as well.
Yeah, that's kind of, yeah, that would be my take.
Probably okay if the hedge is big enough and it's distance away.
Well, we don't know though, do we?
Well, doesn't he have the specs for that
He does.
earlier on in the thing?
Yeah, he does have the
And
equipment.
I think I looked at the pool and I think it's a really quiet pool stuff. Yeah, here.
You know, that's the FAU. Yeah, maybe they don't have the pool. I don't know if I see the pool equipment on here.
Yeah, excuse
Okay.
me, may I speak?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm the applicant, April Palencia, architect with Vanguard Planning. I believe we have the pool specs on there. I think it's sheet 16 in this view.
Were you
And
planning on putting an enclosure around that pool equipment?
You know, equipment, yes. We have a pool equipment building being proposed in this application.
I don't see it.
Sure, it's, hold on, let me check on my set, what sheet to send you to. So yeah, that was the pool pump in the upper right corner of that sheet that you were just at.
Yeah.
Yep. And the calcs should either be there or on this site plan sheet. And then let me see if I can open up my PDF to send you to the right sheet for the pool equipment.
We should
Building.
pool pump sound data we've got on one sheet.
Is that what you're after?
And see that I think that's where I read that it's a very low sound thing.
Yeah, 45 dB.
So April, do you
Yeah.
have a wall around that, please?
Yeah, the sheet that shows the pool equipment building is A01, so maybe the 8th sheet on your screen there.
8th?
Yeah, 8.
I don't see that it's called out as a wall or anything.
Oh, well, see, that's kind of thing graphically, I was reading it as a wall, John. That's kind of, I mean, that's a very standard graphic in landscaping to do it a wall that way. That's why I thought it was a wall.
There's no
So the-
door, there's no door.
On it or anything.
You
The
know.
new pool equipment building is shown on sheet A21.
Okay,
So
great.
you'll see
Let's
the
look
door
at
there.
that.
A 2-1.
Yeah, it's the 12th one in the set.
A21, okay. Oh,
Right there on the
Oh, there it
left-hand
is, right
side.
there.
Those are the elevations and plan there.
floor
Okay,
plan.
excellent. That's all I need to know.
There it is.
That's good.
Okay, with that information, I would be ready to recommend approval. Do Bill and Claire?
Yes, yeah, that's fine. Now we've
Yeah,
worked that out.
that's fine.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, April, for attending it. Saved you a meeting.
Sure.
But we don't think you did a complete job on the detailing for the doors and windows.
Yeah, if you can import those into the jam and sash and sills and thresholds, that would be a lot better.
And so that we actually understand how it will be used. Would you be able to come back next week and do that?
Yes, I think we were kind of shying away from developing those details until the spec got finalized. There's so many distribution concerns right now. The contractor and the owner are working to make sure we're speccing something that they can get on schedule. So that's why I apologize. I agree that they're kind of light there. I can embed these ones in an assembly just with the caveat that the spec might change.
That's fine. If it's an all aluminum product, it probably isn't going to deviate too much from.
Sure.
Okay, so we'll see you in 1 week.
Okay, what's the date of the
And you
hearing?
can go into the building department if you're not in there already.
We are. We're actually ready to issue. We're just waiting on the MBAR and LUP.
Okay? So,
And
We will
John,
see-
didn't you mean to say 2 weeks?
2 weeks. Thank you for the correction.
I was going, what? We've got a meeting next week? Losing it here.
Don't scare Claire like that, John.
So April, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and we have 30 seconds before the meeting. I'm ready to complete this portion of the meeting. Is that okay with you guys, with the other two members?
Yes, we're fine.
Good.
See what, if everybody, is other people here? Oh, let's see, Kimberly's here. Tip is not quite here yet. Don Sharp is here. Oh, is Mendro out today? Is that
Yes,
why?
he is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, it is now 1 o'clock. So do we have a quorum? Do we have Kimberly? 1, 2, 3, 4. We have a quorum.
But we don't have Kimberly.
We do have Kimberly.
Oh, there she is.
No, she's there. Okay, so I'd like to call the April 21st, 2022 Montecito Board of Architectural Review to order. First item on our agenda is public comment. Is there anybody here that would like to address the board on an item that's not on our agenda, please?
I didn't receive anything, John, and nobody has their hands up. Thanks.
Very good, thank you. Item number 2, COVID stuff. I want to move this to the end of the agenda. I think this is going to be a longer discussion rather than just 2 or 3 minutes. I want to really flush it out with everybody. But I want to make sure that if there's anybody in the public that would like to address the board on this issue, I want to make sure you have an opportunity to do that now. Is there anybody that would like to address the board, please? Okay, so let's move item Roman numeral 2 to the end of the agenda. Agenda status report. Anything going on, Sharon?
I don't have anything. Thank you, John.
Okay, minutes of April 7th. I have just a couple of comments. Item C4. So there is a vote of 5-0, but there should be 7 people here. So what happened with that? Did somebody abstain or something? Item C4, next page.
Yeah.
Next page, please.
I just think that was incorrect.
Okay, so let's get that corrected up.
Thank you.
Item number 1, comment number 3. I was a little confused by this comment because I think of the ocean side as the front, as the main elevation. Item 3, 2 members of the MBA suggested restudying the rear elevation, which may be technically correct. I'm wondering if it would be clearer if we said ocean facing elevation. Members of the board, what do you think?
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay, let's
I
do that.
totally agree, because I thought when it said rear elevation, I thought that was the driveway.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah.
And I think it's correctly marked on the plans as rear, but anyway. Item number 3, please. Under no action taken, project may return for preliminary final on approval. What does on approval mean?
On consent, maybe?
Yeah, is it to the full board on consent? This is Adele's project. I think this is a little tiny.
I think it was small. I think we said.
This has got to be consent.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's change that to consent, please.
Absolutely, because I remember that, and I think I remember we said, no, don't worry about it. Come back at consent.
Okay, item number 6. I have a couple of comments. Public comments. There are 8 people listed. Number 7 says petition with neighboring property owners' names. And I think we should add the words and signatures to that.
All right.
So it wasn't just a list of names. And then on item number 1, architect and owners have done a good job of responding to the comments. I'd like to strike the words and providing compromises, and then just have comments to reduce size and height. Do we want the word providing compromise in there or not?
Okay,
Please.
let's do it again. Architect and owners have done a good job at responding to,
Comments to reduce size and height.
Yeah,
Oh.
I think that's sufficient.
yeah, I just want, yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay. Also, there was no vote taken. Before the meeting, Kimberly and I have talked. She now has that vote correctly shown. And it does say that Aldrich voted no, which is correct. This apparently has been appealed. So, okay.
Yeah, well, didn't we all know that's where it was going?
No, not just, and to that end, I know not everybody reads things before the meeting. Would everybody please make sure that items 1 through 7 are correct and complete? If this is going to go to the PC, I'd like to make sure that everything we have stated is as complete and accurate as we can have.
I'm wondering if item 6 there is more of a concerns expressed regarding functionality of guest parking. I don't know if that's the same thing, maybe. Usability, functionality of guest parking, the ability to actually get in and out of that space.
I think usability is okay, Bill.
All right, that's fine.
I mean, that's okay, and that, I mean, the planner is also looking at that. You
I know, but this is an official document. I want to make sure that we are communicating officially to the planning commission
Then
correctly.
may I ask a question?
Of course.
Would it be appropriate to put in here that all members were concerned about the privacy issue of the home behind them vis-a-vis their balcony and looking into their bedroom, and vice versa, they're the people behind looking into this building's bedroom?
I clearly remember Claire saying it's none of our business and let's move on. But okay, other members of the board, what I want to make sure that we did say it at the meeting if we report it in the minutes.
Well, that statement isn't in the minutes, right?
I know, but
You suggested restudying balcony off master bedroom, is that where we're? I mean,
That's addressing that essentially, yes, yeah. I mean, I think we've given them direction versus just necessarily our feeling maybe. So I'm fine with just item 5 covering that, but if you want to add something in addition to that, that would be fine too.
Well, could one put two members suggested restudying the balcony off the master bedroom, privacy issues with the house behind?
what do members think, please? She's trying to get clearer, not just about an architectural statement, but a privacy statement.
I know, but, well, yeah, okay.
From my view,
Again, you guys, I'm the newbie here, but
No, I understand. And the thing is, I mean, we had a site visit and none of us expressed in the meeting or any other place that we had an issue with the privacy of the neighbor.
Claire, I asked the architect during the question period, or maybe I messed up and did it during the comment. Did you and your clients go up to your neighbor's bedroom and look to see the story poles? And he said, yes. And I did one of those, just let it lie to make sure that they understood what the impact, that's all.
Okay, I don't hear clear consensus unless somebody objects. I think we should leave it the way it is stated right now.
I would leave it the way it is now.
yeah,
Thank you, Don.
let's-
Okay, thank you,
It
Bill.
becomes more complicated and not quite as direct, I think.
Okay. And that is all I have. Anybody else, please?
no,
Doesn't look,
No,
I move to approve the April 7th, 2022 minutes as amended.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, consent calendar. This one, bunch of no-shows today. So for the record, Bill Wolf, John Watson, and Claire Gottstanker, all three of us reviewed the plans today. For item number 3, we are going to recommend approval, except we want the planner working with the chair, me, to review the light fixtures shown on PDF 13, which we believe are not compliant with night sky, and to provide a paint color of LRV 84 or less.
Excuse me, John. Mr. Rivera is here now.
Okay,
Just to put that out there.
Oh, he's the architect, so.
Yes.
okay, I'm going to give you 2 minutes and no more. We were here at 12:45, which is what the agenda said. Keith, do you want to, the 2 comments of the the white paint color is a little bit too bright, and the light fixtures. You have just 2 minutes to comment about that, please.
The wall sconces are existing, and so the new fixture was just matching the existing, and we could knock down the tone of the body color if that's what the board would like to see.
Okay, I don't think you can get an approval for the light fixture given the change in laws that have come down. So what our motion is going to be, if they follow my lead, is to approve it with you to work with Cassidy Walsh in conjunction with me to review this light fixture and the paint color.
Understood.
Is that
Thank you.
okay?
And I apologize for being late, but the link wouldn't let me in until 1 o'clock.
Okay, not a problem. So is there a second to that motion, please?
I'll second that.
And Kimberly, do you understand what we're doing?
I do indeed.
Okay, very good. Any other comments about C1, please? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, item C2 was a no-show. This was Becker Studios next to the church up there on East Valley. There were no comments except that the size of materials on the trellis were not called out. So the motion we would like to propose is for final approval with the applicant to work with Bill Wolf, who's agreed to do this, and through Kathleen as the planner, to make sure the trellis is properly detailed. Would that be acceptable to everybody, please?
Yes,
Yes.
Anybody- Shall I make a motion or shall somebody else?
I'll
Go
make,
ahead.
Go ahead, Claire.
I'll just make a motion for preliminary and final approval with the applicant to work with the chair of the board to upgrade the details for the trellis.
Okay, and to that end, I made a mistake on C1, which I will go back and correct. Is there anybody for C2 in the public that would like to comment to the board because it's on for preliminary, please? Anybody? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor for C2?
Aye.
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 I want to
Mr.
go
Chair, did
back.
we get a second on that one? Claire moved.
I'll second it.
And on C1, is there anybody in the public that would like to address the issue of C1 1143 Hill Road?
No, John,
Board?
one here.
Okay, very good, thank you. And item C3 is also preliminary final. So we, some of the detailing was not quite finished. So the applicant has agreed to come back in 2 weeks. So I would like to move for a 2-week continuance on this item to the consent calendar.
Second.
Any other comments, please? Is there any other comments, please?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you all. MBAR members informational briefing. Anybody?
Nothing for me.
Okay, I've got 2 items. I'm going to be out for item number 1, Westmont, because of a conflict due to location. And we have been having a break after item 5 because of large agendas. We have only 8 items today. Do we still want to do it or not?
No, let's keep going, John.
Okay, so no break today?
I agree.
Okay, excellent. Staff update, please.
I don't have anything, thank you.
Okay, item number 1. Tip, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, as I said, I have a conflict, so I will pick it up.
Okay, so I would like to call item number 1. And that is 955 La Paz Road, Westmont College. Is the applicant online, Sharon?
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Here.
And your name for the record, please?
Randy Jones from Westmont College.
Thank you. Would you like to go through your presentation? And you are here for conceptual review of a new
Press box.
approximately 180 square feet.
That's correct. It's a 180 square foot press box on an existing slab at the baseball stadium. If you recall, there used to be a structure there. It burned down in the T-fire. This is a prefab unit to be set on an existing slab, screened by existing sycamore and oak trees on the one side. And on the far side, as you can see, there's a 35-foot high net between it and the baseball field. The actual press box and the camera viewing area are about 16 feet high. And so they're much below the height of the net, the backstop net. And so it's simply a prefab building that we're bringing in to set on an existing slab.
Okay, are you done with your presentation?
Fern green, it looks like it's fern green with a metal roof.
Correct. It's green, especially because if you're an outfielder, the green makes it much easier to see the ball than if it was a different color.
Oh my God. Okay.
Okay, are you done with your presentation, Randy?
Yes.
Great. Let's go to questions from board members. Start with Claire.
No questions.
Thank you, Claire. Mr. Sharp?
Is the top of the roof the same color as the rest of it?
I believe it's a lighter color plan now, just for the heat gain. Although it does slope toward, the slope is toward the north. So.
Okay, I just, how much lighter is that green, for instance? Do you have any idea?
It's a gray color. I think you can see it there on the lower section of that drawing you're looking at right now, the proposed color. If you just go down a little bit or scroll
up or down, you can
down,
see,
right?
see the metal color right on the
Oh yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Bill, any questions?
Yeah. You have access to that upper level. That's for video or whatever. Is there a ladder or something? How do you get up there?
Yes, there's an interior ladder.
Oh, interior. And
Yes.
Hatch.
Correct.
Okay.
On a campus, you don't want to have extra ladders to high places.
Yeah. And what's the siding made out of? Is it a metal as well?
Yes.
Okay, so it's a metal siding. And
correct.
And the options on the windows, are those double hungs? Are those operable windows, or are they just panels of glass?
Yes, they're operable windows, so the announcer and other people that are in there, scorekeepers, can open those during a baseball game.
So do they slide up or down like a double hung window? Huh?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And there are other options in this. This is pretty much a prefab unit. It comes this way. There's any options in any of that stuff or not?
We had looked at larger windows, but I think the company, Southern Bleacher Company, that's the recommendation.
Okay. All right, that was all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Bill. All right, Alida?
No, nothing, thank you.
Okay. And then Dave?
He's not here. Tip today. He's absent.
Dave's off, John's off, Claire, Bill, Don. Okay, great. I think I went through everyone. So let's open public comments for item number 1. Anyone in the audience would like to address?
Nobody.
Okay, so I'll close public comments. Back to the board. This is conceptual, so we're just providing, oh no, this is conceptual, preliminary, and final. Am I right, Sharon?
Correct.
Oh, no, it's not. This is just conceptual.
Isn't it?
No, it's preliminary and final.
On the agenda, it's just conceptual.
No, I said preliminary and final. No, wait. I look at the wrong thing. Sorry. It's just for conceptual. So we're only providing comments. So let's start with Claire.
I have no comments.
Okay, Don,
I'm ready to move it on. Let's put it that way.
any comment, Don?
Don has no comments.
Thank you, Don. Bill?
What was there before, just out of curiosity? Was it similar to this, or was it the same height? Was it?
It was a similar height, but it was a wood bleacher structure that burned in the tea fire. And since then we've had, you can see in some of the existing photos, just a platform with a canopy over it, just a tarp. So. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's particularly attractive. It's completely functional. Completely functional, and I guess I'm okay with it, as I couldn't even think of how you'd make it any prettier in any way. So yes, I guess that's my comment.
Bill, and you got to.
Thank you, Bill.
This is in the middle of 50 acres. Nobody can see it from anywhere.
All right, yeah, that's good to know.
Come on, it's great.
Alida, any comments?
Are these teams worthy of this fancy, wonderful thing?
This year, our team's ranked number 6 in the nation, and I think they're 37-6 right now.
Wow, great.
Thank you. Thank you, Alida, and I also have no comments. So this seems to be something very simple. I think we can schedule back for preliminary, final on consent. Agree to that?
Yep, that's where I was going.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much for your time. Move on to
Thank
number 2 and back to you, John.
Just for the record, I recuse myself on item number 1, please.
Thank you, John.
Okay, item number 2, 1719 East Valley Road. Is there anybody here for that, please?
Yes, I'm here, Alan McLeod.
Okay, excellent. So you want to get started here?
I can indeed. So the project located at 1719 East Valley Road, it's an existing open lot. It was part of the mud. It was the original house was damaged in the mudslide. So it's in the Innisbrook Association on the eastern and northeastern portion of Innisbrook. We've been to the Innisbrook Association for our first conceptual review and received good comments. So we can go to the site photos. So that panorama right at the top is the existing site. A lot of the oaks were damaged in the mudslide. We've managed to keep the majority of the trees alive along the road. The tree that you're seeing to the dead center has an arborist report associated with it, and it needs to be removed. It's dead. So we're just working with the county on a restoration plan associated with the overall development of the property as well. To the north of the property, you can see it in the panorama just up the street. That was the large house that was picked up and moved just recently. And we have a single family lot between the two properties that the upper owner also controls and has no intent at this stage of building a house on the lower lot. So we have a small single family house to the south that was not damaged in the mudslide. As part of the overall development, and you've probably seen this on a lot of these rebuilds, we are going to have a series of grading elements to bring our lot up outside of the new floodplain. So at this stage, the home sits within the building envelope and has no oaks around it. So we can go to the site analysis. Pretty simple site analysis. Looked at the way that the sun was coming in. We have our development envelope, and we identified obviously towards the north end of the property on the east side, the access point. We did study different locations of bringing driveway in. There's a natural break in the oaks, and we didn't want to impact any of the oaks that are still there. So it was a generator and a driver to the location of access to the property. And then we have a fairly lush landscape to the east of the property along the east side of the fence line. We go to the next slide. So just based on the site analysis and location of buildings, we wanted to limit the drive, court, and access. So we've developed the garage towards the north of the property and the drive court to that northern portion. The form of the building is a simple. It's almost a southern kind of French style, very simple farmhouse style architecture, where we have a couple of the outbuildings that allow for courtyards to be developed in and around the outdoor living portions of the home. And then there's been future discussion of a location of a ADU, which I know is not in your purview, but we wanted to identify the location so that it sets up the series of buildings on the site overall. We can go to the next. The building is about 4,700 square feet, so it's around 2,500 square foot footprint. So at the lower level entry which is on the right-hand side, we have entry. We have a formal living room on axes that opens out to the outdoor living and then spills over to the pool. We have a great family room that is the kitchen, and then we have a simple den and mud room located at the lower level, and a series at the upper level of 3-bed master bedroom and 3-bed layout stacked on top of each other, just to help reinforce kind of the very simple rural forms. We looked at different options for the roof layout. Initially, we were looking at a very simple gable. The client felt, and we felt, that the hip helped reduce the scale of the overall home. So we ended up moving towards the hip roof, and again, very simply laid out. Elevations and materials. Looking at a combination of Santa Barbara sandstone base with the chimney and fireplace element. Looking at very simple plaster and tile. Where we start to bring in some architectural articulation, we're looking at maybe on the lower level, on the large openings, going with steel doors and windows, and then framing at the lower level, the complete opening in a heavy wood element, and then taking that and lightening it as we move to the top with a very simple wood header at the second story, just to help lighten the structure as we kind of move up. We have a couple of small steel balcony elements associated, and then a trellis element over the barbecue area on the outdoor southern living side of the home. And then we have a couple of the outbuildings. We've detached the garage to help reduce its scale so that it doesn't add to the mass of the building. A simple 3-car garage. We've broken up the form to the street with a offset hip, and then the pool cabana itself is just a small structure that's going to sit to the southern side of the house. Each of these structures just help, as they sit with the main house, set up these little courtyard areas for indoor outdoor living from the main house. And I think that's where we can take questions and comments.
Okay, questions from the board, please. Bill Wolf.
Yes, I see on the site plan, it lists as building envelope. Is that just based on, it's not based on setback, because it looks like you've got oaks and things maybe you're working around. Was that something that's been established by the county?
That was established through Innisbrook and the county, and we've actually worked on enlargement. If you go back to the original site plan, you'll actually see 2 building envelopes. We're just we just were working with the county on finalizing the enlarged building envelope.
Does that include the area where you're proposing your ADU in the future then?
The ADU is outside of that area.
Oh, all right. So that might be a concern at some point, I suppose.
At some point, and it's whether the ADU ever gets built or not. That's always the question.
Have you also met with the fire department yet and done any reviews in terms of hammerhead access and turnarounds and all the rest of it yet?
Yeah, we're pretty good on the fire engine hammerhead location, and we'll meet with fires after. We'll meet with them once we've got our conceptual comments from you guys.
So does the hammerhead fit in here, or does
it does?
It does. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, that was all I had. Thank you.
Claire, please.
Yeah, what is the flood control level? How much out of the ground is this going to be?
We're going to grade. We're not going to have the house out of the ground, so we're going to actually bring in around 5 feet of soil.
So from the level, though, that we see in the photographs, the house is going to be raised 5 feet above the natural grade.
Yes, it is.
Okay. I mean, most of us realize that, yeah. And so you will be great. You're not going to just put the house on top of a pile of dirt. You're going to be grading the whole lot so that it naturally goes up to that 5-foot level.
Yes, we will be.
Okay, thank you. And then on your little drawing that you did, I think it was the second drawing, you show a lot of trees on that drawing, but I think there's only one is it correct that one of those is an existing oak and those are kind of randomly proposed for the future? Is that the way I'm reading?
Yeah, that's the way we're reading it. We're as part of the mitigation for the damaged oak woodland, as part of the mudslide, we're required to work with a landscape architect and the arborist to develop a restoration plan to bring in 16 oaks, and then start to create that oak woodland back into the architecture. Hence the reason why obviously we've got the building envelope to work within, and then we're starting. I hadn't placed all the 16 trees because we're going to work with the landscape architect on that.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I was questioning the graphics on what I was seeing in this drawing, and I could see one existing oak, and then I went, oh, well, good. They're going to be putting some more oaks in. That's how I thought. Okay, thank you. Those were my own questions.
Chip?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Elida?
No questions?
a pretty heavy shadow that indicates the windows and doors are recessed
Yes.
sufficiently, and yet the plan doesn't illustrate that. So the question is, how far are the windows recessed from the plaster exterior?
We're planning on around 10 to 12-inch deep walls, and we'll set those steel doors and frames into the maximum depth to create that shadow line to the maximum amount possible.
Thank you.
And I have no questions. Is there anybody attending this Zoom conference that would like to address the board on item number 2, 1719 East Valley Road, please?
John, I didn't receive anything and there are no hands up.
Thank you. So I'll close public comment. Going back in the same order, we are having a site visit, obviously, but Bill, comments, please?
Yeah, I mean, I like the direction the architecture is taking. I like that you kind of detach the structures to kind of help reduce the massing. I agree with the roof gable or hips. I think that's a good idea. I would consider maybe how this access comes in and the proximity to the existing garage. I think you might want to scoot it over. I know you've got some oaks to work in there, but it might be nicer to have a little bit of greenery between the road and the building, and you're not scraping truck mirrors on the wall there or anything. So that would be all I've got to give right now until we see the story poles and see how it feels based on, I'm anxious to see how you're going to raise the grade here and make it feel like it's natural and that it's not sitting on top of a mountain. So we'll look forward to seeing that. It sounds
Claire?
good so far. Thank you.
Claire?
Oh, I think this is a lovely and appropriate project. I really commend the designer or the architect for not going to the full length of what was available as far as FAR is concerned. You know, I mean, it's a, you know, for that area, this is kind of a really nice and appropriate sized house for me. And I think I really like the simplicity of the design. So those are my comments.
Yep.
Yeah, without seeing the site and the story poles, you know, I need to do that before I make some meaningful comments. But overall, I like the project. I like the house. I like the architecture design style, and so that should be good for story poles. Thank you.
Thank you.
Elida?
I think it's lovely. You're blessed with all of these established oaks and the new ones. It'll sink the house down into the property. Should be very nice. You're blessed with all the oaks.
Yes, we are.
Don?
I agree with all the previous comments. I think I like the simplicity of it, and it's just going to fade into the oaks. Very nice project.
I also think this is going to be a nice project. I would like to suggest, it sounds like you are on good terms with the large French home a little bit to the north.
We are.
I thought that the way that they integrated that house into the site was very well done. You are certainly under no obligation to replicate that, but I might suggest that you look at what that is. 5 feet is kind of tough to grab on a comparatively small site.
Yeah.
So you might want to take a look at that.
Okay.
Okay, and Bill, if we can look at the roof plan, please. Every 2-story home is required, with the exception of one in 8 years, that since I've been on the board. So Alan, do you see where he's suggesting those story poles? So it's going to be the high ridge only.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, so 3 points.
Yep.
And work with your planner on another time. Very nice project. Any closing comments from anybody, please?
Yes, I have one more.
Okay.
I'm a big believer in overhangs sufficient to shield the front door. And I think maybe if you were to recess or do something there to provide a little protection, it would be much better. Thank you.
We'll look at it and setting it for you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Item
Thank-
number 3,
thank you for your comments.
please.
So returning for further conceptual with a site visit and story polls.
Well, what do you guys think? Conceptual, or do we want to take a major leap and go preliminary?
Well, we can't because we got to do the story polls.
Yeah, but we could have preliminary after at the same meeting as the story polls.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, that's where I would go.
Everybody okay with that? We haven't seen anything to do with the way the grading is working, which obviously is going to be
Big
fairly
part.
important.
We can
But-
deal with that at preliminary.
What?
We can deal with that at preliminary.
Yeah, and the worst that happens is we continue it. So with everyone else's permission, I'd like to have it come back for preliminary.
Sounds good.
Is that okay with everybody? Okay, item number 3, 475, Santa Rosa Lane. Mark, I saw that you were on there earlier. Are you presenting your own project today?
Yes, well, I'm the architect for this
Oh,
project.
excuse me, I'm sorry. Please, please go
Okay.
ahead.
What this is a 190 square foot storage / restroom building that comes in behind an existing structure. The site is essentially built out the way it is. What the owner needed was someplace for the landscape maintenance people who were there every day to store things and have a restroom to use. If you look at the site photos,
But you're also doing in addition to the conservatory, correct?
right, that's where the storage building is behind the conservatory. So these photos, they're keyed into the site plan that shows where they're taken. This is from the large yard side. So this is the public side on photo 1. Photo 2 is one side, and photo 3, oh, I can't adjust it. So there's 2, it's essentially a 3-sided structure. Photo 3 is the rear, is where the addition is going. And essentially the hedge on the right is the extent of where the addition is. So it's essentially hidden behind the existing building, essentially the width of that space that you see there. And that's essentially the only use for it. If we go back to the site plan, there's a triple hedge. To the left, there's a row that directly adjacent to it, which the photo showed. And then where the access easement to their house behind, there's a hedge row on both sides of the road also. So there's actually, from the adjacent property, there's 3 rows of trees and hedges. Then from the street, it's pretty far off the street, and there's a tall site wall on Santa Rosa Lane and a row of trees along the road. So nowhere was this going to be seen even on the property. Like materials wise, the back of that existing conservatory is stucco, so we're going to maintain that same finish and color on the material. Then I added some stone surrounds to the door and the window. The conservatory has some I don't know if it's cut stone or precast members right at the base. So we're going to match that color and material. Right, that is where it is. The roof is going to be a standing seam metal roof to match the color of the conservatory, which is a light green, kind of a copper kind of color, or weathered copper. And that's essentially the whole project. I didn't provide any colors because it's matching the adjacent building. So I'm just really available for any questions you might have on it.
Okay, very good. To that end, Claire, questions?
No questions.
Don,
No questions. Thank you.
Tip,
No questions.
Bill,
No questions.
Elida.
No,
Site plan, the first sheet, please.
This?
I think there was one above that, wasn't
All
there?
right, yeah.
Can we look at the upper right-hand corner of the FAR worksheet, please?
Oh.
Upper right-hand corner of the worksheet itself. That's it, right there. Do you see where it says within Montecito hillside overlay up there?
Yes.
Had you clicked on the little arrow in there and typed no, do you know what the FAR would have come out with?
No.
Okay, does 0.95 sound correct? The answer is yes. Okay, very good. That's all the questions I have. Are there anybody in the public that would like to address the board on item number 3475 Santa Rosa Lane, please?
Nobody here, and I didn't receive anything. Thank you.
Okay, so now comments. Claire?
No, I don't have any comment. I mean, I think it's a really simple little addition to, and hopefully you treat the conservatory appropriately, because I love the building. I actually have been on this site and I know that building and I love it. So that,
Don Sharp, please.
No additional comments. I agree with Claire exactly what she said.
Tip.
No additional comments. Thank you.
Bill.
The only comment I have is it's good to see you, Mark. We graduated the same year. I don't know if you remember me or not, but anyway, it looks like a good project.
And Elida, please.
No comments?
And I have no comments. I would like to recommend that we go to preliminary final on consent, if that's okay with everybody.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, so it is on for concept, so there's no motion. Please work with your planner, Mark, to get on. It may take a little while, but preliminary final, all the details, colors, the whole thing, please figure out that FAR worksheet so your application is complete. Item number 4, please. 202 Olive Mill Road. Jason, are you here, please?
I am. Can you hear me?
I can. Thank you for joining us. Okay, so would you like to go ahead, please?
Yeah, so we're at 202 Olive Mill, which is kind of obviously lower portion of Olive Mill off a little private lane, which has 5 houses essentially down it. So you can see the site photos, our existing house, basically in the lawn area. Well, if you look at that middle picture, yeah, exactly. Where the putting green, the fake little putting green is now, we're gonna obviously remove that. That's where this kind of covered porch element would be. And then the pool that's proposed is basically going in that large lawn area. The existing little stone wall that kind of wraps around, that will be kind of augmented slightly, and that's shown on our site plan to kind of help fit everything in there, but it is going to remain in terms of that grade kind of differential. And then we're blessed with, we have a lot of landscaping that's already in, which is a nice separator between us and our most immediate neighbor. There's a large hedge that kind of separates us and them. And so, yeah, on the very bottom photo there, in the middle, you can see the kind of that large hedge, which is right in there. It's about 12 or 14 feet tall or whatever. And so that kind of describes it. That covered, but back to the photo, just just pan over just slightly, you see a kind of an existing covered porch that's on the existing residence. If you look at that architecture that's there, we're basically kind of mimicking that. It will be kind of Henderson old world beams, plaster finish on the inside. Massing and detailing is roughly the same. What we're proposing is a little bit smaller than that, but just to kind of give you a sense of what that is. So with that, we can go to the next page. So here is our site plan, and again, that proposed kind of covered porch lanai thing that we have here is sitting off right where the little putting green is now. And the proposed pool is basically just going right into the lawn area. And so we currently have an arborist that we're working with, and I'll have that report available at the next meeting for our proximity to the oak trees. It looks like we're in the clear and everything's looking good, but I will have that report for you on the following meeting. I can go to the next slide. It's so pretty simple little structure, again, kind of mimicking that covered porch detail. Basically just kind of a covered open area that they can kind of utilize in association with the pool. We're picking up a half bath in the back and some pool storage, and the pool equipment will go on the back in an enclosed kind of closet area. Smooth trowel plaster finish, and it's a slate roof to match the existing residence, so all the colors and materials will match. You can go to the next slide. I don't think Chuck was available to make, Chuck McClure put together a landscape plan. So for the landscape professionals on the board, I mean, I guess at the very least, you could look at his planting selections and make sure everything is copacetic. I assume that it is, but I don't believe Chuck's here to present. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, excellent. So Don, questions, please. Oh, wait, he's not there. Elida, please.
No questions?
Tip.
No questions.
Claire.
No questions.
Bill.
No questions.
And can we go to the FAR worksheet again? Broken record, Watson.
Oh.
Or is it?
It's not there. So can you double
Correct.
click?
I don't have anything
Correct.
down. I didn't see it.
Okay, so if I took the net numbers that you have there, does the number 111%, does that sound about right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's the first part of the question. The second part, I know that I am probably considered to be too much of a stickler, but that is who I am. Would it be, the question is, would it be possible to reduce the FAR down to 110 rather than 111, if it turns out to be 111? That's the question.
Absolutely.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Okay, Don, are you back? Your question?
I am.
Okay, do you have any questions, please?
No questions. Thank you.
Okay, public comment. Is there anybody attending this Zoom call meeting that would like to address the board on item 4, 202 Olive Mill Road, please?
Thank you.
Okay, I'll close public comment. Don, comments,
Yes.
please.
I have no negative comments. I think it's a good project.
Somebody is speaking. Please turn off your mic. Elida?
Question about topos on the lower side, which like we kind of have. But
Jason, it's nice to see you again.
Good to see you.
And depending on the sign off on the oaks from an arborist, I have no further comments.
Tip?
I also have no comments. I think the great project.
Claire?
I think it's lovely. And you know, if the FAR goes to 110, I mean 111, I don't have a problem. I still don't have a problem with the project. I think it's totally appropriate, and we're ready to move on.
Okay, so members of the board, I also have no problem with this project. Can we move this on to conceptual for preliminary final? Do we need anything more? We've got the arborist report coming. Assuming that turns out okay, can we move it on?
Yes.
Yes.
Do we want to condition it where the planner would put it to the full board if there were issues with the arborist report, or should we deal with the whole thing at consent?
It's up to you, John, I guess, and Claire, in terms of reviewing the arborist report. If you
Claire, what do you want to do with that?
That's fine. I think we can still move it on to consent, and making sure that that arborist report comes in before the hearing so that I actually can look at it, because they're, you know, they're so long and in detailed. I don't want to have to be looking at it at the day that we're doing consent.
Okay, so for item 4, we're going to move it on to the consent calendar for both preliminary and final. And Kimberly, Kimberly, I don't know if it's legal to have Kathleen send out the arborist report even a little earlier than normal, so Claire and I can take a look at it. If so, that would be great. If not, we'll pick it up during the meeting.
And one more comment to
Yes,
add.
please.
Jason, just make sure your light fixture meets the dark sky compliance, even though you're maybe trying to match the existing fixtures.
Well, if he's underneath, he doesn't have to.
Is that right? Even if
Yeah.
it's close to the
Yeah,
edge.
that's a hanging light inside that building. It goes it's part of the building, not part of the outside lighting.
Where is that light fixture, Jason?
You can see
It's
hanging.
dead center. It's dead center of the covered porch area. So it's
Yeah,
sitting
he
back
doesn't-
in there, I don't know, 10 feet or so.
All right.
He doesn't have to meet dark sky with it.
All right.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, item number 5, please. 335 Kali Hermoso. Is there anybody here? Natalie?
We've got some comments. John.
I'm here, Liz Hughes, on behalf of Tom Oxner Architect.
Okay, we have some minutes. Could we do that first, please?
They're up.
Oh, my turn. Okay. Nicely conceived, modest project. Consider restudying massing, roof overhang railings, and fireplace on south and west elevations. So, Liz, are you presenting it today?
Yes. Yes, I'll be presenting, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about the previous review. We were before MBAR, let's see, it was August 12th, I believe, of last year, and received favorable comments for the conceptual set. We were going to be presenting, we were approved to go to preliminary final at consent. But then the owners decided that they were actually planning to expand their family, and they wanted to add another bedroom for one of their children. So the scope of the project changed slightly. I also noticed that on the project description on the agenda, it doesn't reflect the current square footage that has been increased since the previous time the board has reviewed this project. So let's just go to.
Well, to that end, can we start on page 1 and look at the FAR?
Yeah.
Just so we know where we're at, please. 107.
So, yes, so we're at 107 right now. The previous project was at 102, 102%. And the interesting thing about this project is the addition is all on an understory. The lower level of the project is actually basically half buried into the hill as it slopes down. So the portion where the addition is happening is not fully exposed. So I just wanted to point that out, that even though we're increasing the size of the addition, the location of it is less impactful to, because we are on a hillside and everything that we're adding is on the lower level. And then we also have a deck above that's open. So I'll just go over, we did increase 174 square feet from the previous design, and we extended the addition out an additional 8 feet 6 inches. If we go to the floor plans on, let's see, sheet 11, let's try it. Well, it might be 12 actually. Start at 11. Okay, so this is sheet 11. This shows the main floor level. Actually, let's go back to the site plan on sheet 9. I'll kind of walk you through the site a little bit since it's been a while since we were here last. You can see that driveway coming off of Calle Hermoso. It kind of wraps around up to a motor court at the top level. So as you walk in from that motor court, you're actually on the upper level of the residence. Then you walk down to the lower level, which is where the addition is. The area that you're pointing out right now that's in the dash is where the addition is. And then on the higher level, it has a covered deck. So let's go to the floor plan. Next sheet, or 2 sheets, 11. So this is that new covered deck area here on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, that is an existing covered deck, which we're reconfiguring, kind of a loggia off of the existing residence. And the area of the addition on the left-hand side is new. There's kind of just an attached balcony in that area. Part of the change to this design from the previous is that while the lower level pushed out further to add that new bedroom, the upper level pushed out just a little bit. It only pushed out 3 feet instead of the 8'6". So there is a little bit more offset there. Before, the walls were aligning, and that was part of the comment about the massing on that elevation. So let's go to the next sheet. This is actually, this looks like the old plan. Huh. Are you sure?
Well, it says proposed lower level. That's what it says.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, is this the previous set that was submit? Oh, no, this is right. No, you're right. You're right. Sorry.
This is all we got.
I thought it might have been the older plan. It's very similar. So this is our new plan. And if you zoom in on that, you can actually see the dashed line. There's one that shows where the existing exterior wall is, where it says existing and proposed. And then the second dashed line that's further down is where the previous submittal exterior wall was. So you can see where we pushed out to gain some additional square footage. The bedroom sizes in this area are pretty modest still. We tried not to make them too large to limit our increase to the FAR as much as possible, but also make them livable for the occupants. Let's go to page 15, which is the exterior elevations.
That's the roof plan. Okay. Oh, here we go.
Okay. Yeah. So the southwest elevation is the elevation we received a comment on at the previous review about the massing. You can see that upper deck level is pulled back a little bit more now. And originally the comment was about the shed roof that was coming over, that maybe we didn't need it. Now that there's an offset there, the shed roof seems to make more sense to the design. We also studied removing it for the previous submittal. It's irrelevant now, but the chimney volume became too vertical. So we felt that having that shed roof there really complemented bringing the scale down to the exterior. So, and then the other comment was about the chimney height, which is a code required height. So we can't move it any lower than where the proposed chimney is. Then on the northwest elevation, we also have a lower shed roof that kind of breaks up the massing on that edge. And also, since that portion of the deck is adjacent to the property line, we wanted to make sure that there was privacy both for the residents of this property as well as the neighbors. So that is a solid guardrail. Whereas on the southwest elevation, we have a little bit more open to provide visibility out. There's also a seating area there. So we have an area of higher guardrail to kind of prevent people from falling over in that area. And I think that's really, if you'd like me to walk you through, there's mature landscaping on the site already on sheet 5. I have a couple of photos of the existing landscaping. And this is kind of the area of the addition here that you can see. There's an existing fence and hedge along the property line there. And we are proposing to leave all of that existing landscaping. The area with the grass is kind of an existing lawn area that's a part of where we're pushing our addition into, and will remain as a grass area with a patio as well for people to walk out from that lower level. But you can see in the other photos kind of along the driveway and up towards the house is actually heavily landscaped with mature landscape in that area. So we're proposing to leave most of the existing. And that concludes the presentation for this.
Very good, thank you. Tip, questions?
I have no question, thank you.
Claire?
None.
Bill?
Explain maybe a little bit what's going on here at this railing. You said is there a seating area that makes this raise up and jog?
Yeah, so there's a built-in seating area there. So that's why that guardrail is pushing up higher. If you go to the floor plan or the section, you can probably see that a little bit better.
That's this little area here.
Exactly.
And you jog up here, huh?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That's an existing step as well.
And then this elevation here, is there a reason why this is not a door with a balcony?
That's an existing window actually as well. So that it is existing. It's actually a decorative plaster balcony, and there is a railing out there right now. So in that area, we're adding that awning to kind of give some solar protection, and then we're also adding that the scalloped plaster below with a new railing to enhance the character of the existing house. Yeah, you can kind of see it on that photo. It's a little concealed by planting.
Okay, so that's existing, and you're just adding the awning over the top. Okay, all right, that was all. Thank you.
Elida, I know you were not here for the last presentation, but your turn if you'd like to take it.
I need to recuse myself on this project.
Okay. John?
No questions, thank you.
Okay, PDF page 16, upper right-hand corner, please. Zoom writing, exterior finishes and material index, please. The second one, EX02, the color white has a lot of variation. Can you be more specific? The question is, can you be more specific about what white means, please?
A warm white that is more towards the cream color.
Okay, you are on for final. Okay, so this is not an insignificant question here. So.
Oh, God, I never even noticed that.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I thought we were back on concept here. But okay.
It says conceptual review, preliminary, final.
Oh, okay.
So we don't necessarily have to go to final, but okay. So that's the end of my questions. Out to members of the public. Is there anybody that would like to address the board on item number 6, 591 Santa Rosa Lane, please? Excuse me. Item number 5, 335 Calle Hermoso, please. Anybody? Item 5?
Thank you.
Okay, so we are on for comments. So it is on preliminary final. Tip.
Well, I think it's a lovely project. And Yeah, definitely don't have any other comments. I think that it should be it's pretty straightforward, simple, and should be we should be able to grant preliminary final. Thank you.
Claire?
Yeah, I don't really have any comment at this point. I mean, I mean, if we're going to move it to final, I mean, then the question would be, do we have enough to give it final? But I'm not now seeing that Bill is going through all of the details, and so maybe it is ready for final. Other than that, that's what I would be saying. I think it's a really good, really straightforward, nice remodel, whatever we call this, and let's move it on.
And do you believe that they need to provide information from a landscape point of view or not?
No, no, I don't need,
Okay.
I mean, but they should have the correct color on the plans for whatever white it is.
Okay, I agree with you. Okay.
That needs to be on the plans.
Okay, Bill, please.
Yeah, I think the only thing I see missing is the light fixture, unless you're not replacing any light fixtures and those are existing. Do you have a lighting plan? I don't see any. I would assume there's lighting in here. I don't know if you're adding any.
Yeah, we did prepare a lighting plan. It was for the previous design before these changes happened. So I can bring that back on consent if you'd like to take a look at it.
Does that include landscape lighting or just?
I think we need to begin to distinguish between what's house lighting and that, because there's no landscape plan. I assumed there was no landscape lighting on this.
Yeah,
project.
we do have a landscape plan, which we provided for the previous submittal. I don't know if I think it's still in the set on page 6. But there is no landscape lighting proposed. Any of the lighting is existing. We're really proposing to kind of fill in the shrubbery along that fence for privacy reasons, but that's all that we're doing as part of this project.
Okay, Don?
Thank you. I think it's a good project. And I only would like to say that I think the entry tower is screaming for a finial of some sort. Thank you.
Would you like it to be a finial on final?
Oh, I think it's up to the applicant.
That's actually.
It needs some punctuation.
Oh,
that's actually Brian Cornell's comment, finial on final. Okay, and I have nothing. It sounds to me like we are ready for preliminary. I think there are a few little pieces, light fixtures and color to do on final. Is that okay with everybody?
On consent?
Yes.
Yeah, final on consent. Do I have a motion for that, to that effect?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I'll make the motion for preliminary approval for them to come back for final on consent with light fixture, the color white, less than an 84 LRB, right, John?
Yeah, and the landscape plan.
And a landscape plan.
Well, no, they've got a landscape plan.
They actually had the landscape plan in there.
They've got one. We just looked at it.
Liz, did you have something more besides this or not?
No, that's it.
Okay, very good. So just the 2 items, please.
Yeah, so those 2 items.
Is there
I'll
a
second that motion.
Thank you. Any further discussion, please? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Okay, item number 6.
Can you believe we're just past 2 o'clock? We've gone through the whole agenda in an hour, people. Yay!
Don't bank on it.
Yeah.
No, I understand.
And don't Brian bank on it either.
Don't curse us, Claire. Don't curse us.
Yeah, no, but I just noticed that we've gone. I mean, because we talk about this, the timing of agendas, and this today was just amazing that we got to number 6 in an hour. You know.
So Brian, are you leading off, please?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if I may, would you please, in your introduction, address whether or not you are still taking out the same number of trees? And in your same introduction, would you describe whether or not you've lowered the building finished floor, not the ceiling or the roof, but the ground? And then we'll just pick it up from there. But I think those are the two items. Let me read the minutes. Proposed alterations in addition to existing structure, that's the main, basically single-story structure, are acceptable. Board cannot support height and massing of multi-purpose building or the removal of existing oak trees along the roadway. We study options to reduce the height of the multi-purpose room building, eliminate clear story element, lower existing grade, set structure further back from the roadway, restudy parking areas. Brian, it's all yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and board members. Let me go down the list here. We'll get to the, no, we were not able to lower the finished floor due to our FEMA constraints, but you'll see the product of our redesign. Oak trees, we studied that in detail, and the end result is that no, the same number would be impacted regardless of the amount that the ability for us to move. We run into the sanitary district easement, but Susan can take you through what our mitigation strategy is for that. We did restudy the parking area, and we've got that for you as well. Did I hit them all?
At least, yeah, the top down. So are you going to do the presentation?
I'll do a very quick recap. Unfortunately, because of file sizes, we had to break these up, Bill, into 3 separate files. Basically, just real quick, we did a substantial amount of work on the multi-purpose building. Following your cue, we really didn't change the existing structures, the main building or the locker room design. We did tweak a little bit, and Kevin and or Mark will take you through what we did with the cantina. We needed to find some square footage to eliminate from the project to make way. You'll see there on the landscape plan. We've done some reconfiguring of the parking lot. We've added these 2 tree islands in the center there and planted those out to break up that parking lot. And the result of that is a reduction of 2 parking spaces. So we had to find some square footage that would allow us to reduce those parking areas. And like I said, Mark or Kevin can take you through that strategy and how we accomplish that. The meat and potatoes here is the pretty substantial redesign of the multi-purpose building. And then the only other thing I'll add is that we did meet. We had our neighbor meeting about almost 2 weeks ago. I won't speak for the neighbors, but it was the most positive of any of the meetings that we've had, and hopefully we'll have some comments there to that effect. So with that, we'll take you through. I think part 1, Bill, will be pretty quick. If you don't mind, we're hoping that we can take you through the architecture and then come back to landscape, which is in part 1, unfortunately. So I think it'd be best to start with part 2, which are the changes that we've made to the multi-purpose building, and then we can get back to part 1 for landscape.
That may be part 3, Brian.
Looking
for the AC.
It's part 2.
There we are.
It's not
Okay.
in part 3.
Yeah, it's part 2. I had to bust these things up. Took me an hour to figure out how to do it, but I'm getting better at it. So with that, we'll go ahead and turn it over to the Design Arc team for architecture.
Okay, hi, this is Kevin Dumaine from Design Arc. So you're looking at the view from the central quad, and we made some pretty significant changes to the building. Overall, we've lowered the height by eliminating the light monitor, and so now there's just a series of these smaller, clear stories. And when we get to the section, you'll see that everything is down within the 35-foot residential height limit. You'll also notice that the building has gotten darker. We've taken a strategy of trying to make the multi-purpose building just a simpler barn-like structure. And so here we've gone with a darker finish. There's no big eaves. We've also incorporated some stone base from the other buildings designs integrated to that. And then off to the left, you can even see a little bit of the slump stone which is also an element we had used elsewhere, and it's on the current buildings. Why don't we we'll flip through these pages. Yeah, just go ahead and skim through the plans. We did add a little bit of storage to the upper left of the plan, which will help sort of, it keeps us from having, it steps this view of the side, little stepped massing over on the northeast side of the building now by doing that. Keep on rolling. And we get to the elevations. And now you can see how these light or clear stories are quite a bit lower than the previous design. And so everything falls underneath that 35-foot height limit. Now, this is our view that faces the inward towards the rest of the facility. Over towards the right, you can see we've added a little lean-to storage element at the bottom, which helps reduce the sense of the massing on that corner. We go to the view below this. This is from the San Ysidro. We're tucked well into the hillside here. Let's keep on moving. Now, on the end views of the building, north and south, similar gable massing. We've changed the window sizes, shrunk them down a little bit. Go to the one below. You can see here how the palette of materials with the stone base, the slump stone off to the left, just the more barn siding effect of the main building. Now let's get to the sections. We'll keep going. Okay, go to the one above it. All right. In here, there's a little dash line that represents the previous profile. So in the previous design, we had the light monitors being an architectural projection, and it was above the 35-foot height limit. So now we've slightly lowered the overall massing of the building, but yet we're still able to maintain the clearances we need for sports activities. And then with this new clear story design, we're able to keep the ridge of the clear stories underneath the 35-foot height limit. And then in this view, you can see how these structural assumptions are all sort of pivoted around these sort of critical height limits that we have for indoor sports activities. All right, so that kind of tells the picture. Go ahead and scroll on through that one. And then let's see, do we have our renderings in this package from the street? No, that got cut off.
Sorry, part 3. They were huge.
Okay. Yeah, let's go to that one. Let's go to a single page view.
There's a better end view of the building. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
well,
if you-
there it is, right there.
Yeah, and if you can format to a page view, it'll be good for clicking back and forth. So this is kind of our X-ray view. We've got the building massing, which is beyond, kind of showing through the trees. But now if you click to the next page, click forward rather than scroll. Oh,
Yeah, it's just as easy.
okay. We lost a special effect there. The landscaping along the street in all the new plants that Susan's proposing will really help to screen both the parking lot and the multi-purpose building here.
Other than
The one thing, Kevin, that you might want to add is the awnings and how we change the window openings based on the previous feedback.
Yeah, so
Sorry, Bill, that's part
where we
2.
face the east, where we face the north, we're looking at fixed windows. We've added an awning along the south side for shade for the which is a functional thing for the Y. We're still thinking on the street side that we could have some operable ventilation. And that's just sort of in the big picture, the big moves of what we're doing there. All right.
The other thing that was important, I think, and it came up in our neighbor meetings, were to try to be clear, and I think the MBAR requested this, about the difference in height of San Ysidro Road. And so you'll see, we skipped over that real quick, but in the other elevations, the east and west, we've been superimposed onto those, the grade, yeah, there you go. So that gives you an understanding of the relationship of the road to the placement of the building.
Yeah. And this is, when we moved the building from the prior location of a few years ago to this location, it really tucks into the site better because San Ysidro is higher relative to the sort of the ground level of the site. So this has worked in our favor for kind of reducing the sense of massing of the building.
Well, and I think the darkened
just to add to
wood,
that, just to add to that, we can't move the building any further north because it pinches up against a sewer line easement that's through there that goes through the middle of the property. So we push the building as far north as possible so that it's as depressed, the finished floor is depressed as much as we can from San Ysidro. Can't go any further because of the sewer easement that's there.
We could probably go either to the architectural site plan. I think we want to go to the part 1 package now.
part 1, page 2, Bill, will be the landscape plan and basically our site layout.
It's a good place to kind of describe these issues. Let it generate. So to kind of follow up on what Brian's saying, on the east side of the building, we have the Montecito Sewer District easement through the middle of the site. So we're up against that easement on one side. To the north, we're up against a creek setback, which you can see in kind of that yellow dash line. The little pink lines are the easement for the sewer. And then on the bottom, the west side, we have the setback from San Ysidro. So we're really kind of touching all these setbacks on some points, and that's establishes where the building can fit. And Bill, on a few other points. So one of the comments was, that the parking lot, it was just too open. So by eliminating 2 spaces, we're able to increase space for landscaping on both ends of the sort of the main chunk of the lot and in the center islands. So we've got and we've added more perimeter screen trees. So the whole parking lot can be surrounded and broken up with more screening trees now than we had before. And that's all because of over on the main building, we eliminated the piece that had formerly been the canteen. And now it's just an outdoor terrace, which will function quite fine for the WISE activities. And so that balances out our parking demand with the square footage.
And then Susan can walk us through those updates and specifics, and we've got the mitigation strategy. And as a reminder, we're doing the creek, restoration component, and so we have the plantings. Our scheme for landscape is kind of broken up into 2 separate components, and Susan can walk you through those. So we have those that relate to the creek restoration component, and then we have those that relate to the site landscaping.
Just before we move into the landscape, just to reiterate, we've made the building as small of a footprint as we can make it and still meet the function that the Y requires in order for it to be usable, both in footprint and in height. So we have lowered it as much as it can possibly be lowered and still function as the multi-purpose building that it needs to be. So, and we think changing it to the scheme of darker colors makes it more recessive. You may recall previously we were thinking of a Corten steel roof. We're now going to a matte, a bonderized kind of matte gray roof, which will even be more background. So we're trying to, kind of call less and less attention and have it be kind of a background building in the beautiful creek setting. So that's kind of the overall scheme.
Are you ready for the planting?
Yes.
Please.
Okay. If we could move the graphic a little more towards the left, we can look at the plant palette at the same time. Okay, good. Is this big enough for everyone to see on their screens right now?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, the biggest change we made is that the neighbors took down their eucalyptus trees, which were on their property. And do you see the orange line that I just drew? Did that turn up?
Yes.
So it was along that edge. And so since we no longer have that screening, we are planting Catalina cherries all along the edge in an informal manner for screening. The other thing that's always existed, there is quite a few trees through this area, which will give us nice screening to start with for the building itself. And then we're augmenting that with more native large growing shrubs and trees. This is our plant list for that part. This is the existing tree legend. So down low, where we do have a bioswale, and we've got detention basins, which we'll take advantage of for our trees over time. Things like alders and the poplars, and we may or may not include sycamores because this site has been heavily affected by the boar that is affecting our sycamores around here. So we're minimizing planting more of those. But we are actually showing the plants such as the toyon, which are large shrubs, small trees, and the Catalina cherries, smaller than their actual mature size. But you can see we've pretty much socked in some pretty heavy multi-layer screening all through this street area. And I think that really hits the highlights. And what I'd like to do is answer any questions if there's anything that you are concerned about that I didn't address.
Brian, are you done? Your team done?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Questions, Tip?
Yes, I have some couple of questions. Number one, what is the finish material for the skin of the building?
Preliminarily, we're thinking it's going to be a natural wood with a very, very dark stain. And once again, as you recall, we're really here for the master plan, and we're going to be coming back to you no less than 2 more times for each of these buildings for preliminary and final. So, we, as Kevin mentioned, we're trying to get something that really emulates an old barn, and we understand the durability issues, and so we'll be studying that carefully. We may investigate thermery or some other kinds of siding, but the idea is for it to take on a very dark, almost black color.
Previously, was it a metal building?
No, it's a pre-engineered steel structure, but it has never had metal siding on the exterior. We never proposed that. It was in an earlier version, it was cementitious siding, board and batten, but now we're thinking we're going to go more to a vertical tongue and groove wood material.
It was a much lighter color previously. I think that's
Much lighter color, yeah.
most substantial change.
My next question, about the height from San Isidro. I know San Isidro sloping from one end to the other end. Can we go back to the elevation, please, on San Isidro?
Page 6 there.
Yeah, you had it right here. There it is.
Yeah, so my question is, would be on the low elevation. What is the height from the low and what's the height from the height? The height of San Isidro to the roof.
We don't have a dimension here. Take a look at the sections.
Looks like about 20 feet if you take this as
Just
10.
roughly.
Yeah, worst case.
Looks like about 20,
Maybe 20 feet there
maybe 21.
on the highest.
Yeah.
Okay, and that is sloping up to like 15.
Yeah, or 18 or 17, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then my last question had to do with the number of trees up between the road and the building. Are you removing all the trees?
No.
No, if we go back to Susan's plan, you'll see
Yeah.
that there's some trees that the building and the over-X will impact the footprint, your plan of the trees. There will be a few trees that are removed. And then as you go midway up the bank and on top of the bank, those trees can remain.
We also were able to keep some more trees in this version than in the last version. And the other thing I think is important to know is that our symbols for existing trees are shown with these open circles at their base. So you can see that going all along this frontage, we have large existing trees that remain. So we will have screening from the very beginning, which will be enhanced over time with these additional trees and large shrubs.
So those existing trees still remain, the large ones?
Yes, they're quite a ways up slope, so they will not be affected. And we did end up taking another look at the trees we thought needed to come out. And so at this point, you can see the X's through the trees that do need to come out.
Okay, thank you, John. That's all I have.
Bill,
I don't think I have any questions.
Elida,
I need to recuse myself from this project as well.
make sure you make that very loud and clear during the votes, Elida. Claire?
Are we in questions?
We're in questions.
So this is, so the trees that have the circles, the open circles, those are all to remain. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So the only trees that you're removing are not from the slope or at the upper part of the slope, but only where the building is.
That's correct. And there's one in the parking lot, but the sycamores on this site are not doing very well because of the borer.
Yeah, no, I see that. I see. So I wasn't saying that they were, I mean, because there's a pine and there's the sycamores and then there's some oaks, but okay. I just need you to clarify. So what you've done is that on the slope, you've added a whole lot more than was on the original.
Yes, the other thing is in the original plan, these were shown really small. They were shown, like Toyons were shown 5 feet, and that's not realistic. So we also
you're altering
increase the sizes of these trees so that in the end, it'll be more healthy. They won't be crazy too close together. And as you know, those Toyons grow naturally underneath oak trees and so forth. So it's a very symbiotic relationship there. The birds love the combination of perching sites and the Toyon, which provide food.
They do. They're very happy at my house. The birds.
Yes.
And I think, Claire, that's the important point that we could have presented better last time when, there was rightly concern about, the tree removal, but I think it's the locations of the trees and as they relate to the footprint that we could have done a better job of depicting and that steep, that steep slope. So, I mean, and we have continued to study that location and see what we can do, but based on the location of the oaks, I mean, it would render this building undevelopable based on its configuration to get out of the root zone of those 2 oaks there. I mean, you'd have to get so far up and to the east that it really wouldn't make a difference, honestly.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, and I think it was in the graphics. I think that it was kind of at least I had a sense that it was going to be much more open, or this building was going to be much more open to San Ysidro and the public. And now it's been infilled, which is what exactly was the issue that I was having.
Yeah, we didn't present it it wasn't very clear.
I mean, he just needs to be a mass of trees and native plantings come all the way from San Ysidro down that slope so that this building can settle itself in as much as it possibly can.
Claire, do you have any more questions, please?
Sorry. No, those were the only questions. I was trying to just kind of get from where we were to now.
Don Sharp?
Thank you. I'm assuming that the sanitary district easement cannot be moved. It's currently being used as such and not just an easement only, which might be able to be moved.
There was, Don, to answer your question, no, it's not like just our easement, it's a main line. And there was, I don't know, Kevin can talk about how many months that were spent dealing with their concerns about the line. But no, it's an immovable constraint.
Okay, thank you.
That it? Bill, can you zoom out a little bit on this? And Brian or Mark, please. This parking lot, I know it's not a vertical piece of the project, but it looks like a right turn only in and right turn only out, which means that anybody that's coming from the vast majority of Montecito, which is up to the left on this plan, how do they get in there? And if somebody's coming from the south, how do they get back going south? So does this plan portend a third traffic light in this area, do you believe? And if not, why not?
Yeah, John, this is Brian. I can answer that. So, after many months of engineering and traffic studies, that was the outcome, right? Exactly as you're describing, right in, right out. It has been our assertion all along that, this is overparked from the very beginning, no matter what methodology you use. So there isn't an answer. There is not going to be an additional stoplight. I can say that. There isn't an answer to your question about what if you live on the south side of Montecito, how you would get out and get back to your home. That being said, the 60+ year pattern for people, and we continue to promote that pattern, which is they'll park in the main lot, and that's the main entrance to the facility, and that's where the majority of members are going to park. Employees will all park in this lower lot to free up that much more additional parking in the main lot. So that'll be part of our project description for the CUP, to require employee parking down there. So there isn't an answer to a left-hand approach. There is no left-hand approach. It's right in, right out only.
Okay.
I think the reality too is that people, if it turns out that people want to be using that lot, I think people that go there often will change their driving patterns, and they'll find another more convenient way to be able to access that parking lot. Everyone from Montecito doesn't need to go up and down San Ysidro. There might be a way that people that are living out further out towards Sheffield or whatever come in on the frontage road on North Jameson and end up coming up San Ysidro instead of using that as the main, as their maybe what they normally have done. And I think people will change their driving patterns to make it easier.
So Mark, aren't you suggesting that this plan strongly suggests that people will be using Santa Rosa Lane in a much greater extent than they are now, because it's the easiest way to get going back south, and it may also be the easiest way to get on to San Ysidro going north, if they go on the whole loop. Is that a logical statement that I just asked or made?
I'm not a traffic engineer. We've had traffic studies on this. And it has basically come to be recognized that it's not going to be an adverse environmental impact. So I don't know that I necessarily agree with your statement.
Okay, thank you very much. Do you have a question?
Yes, how much more parking is being added to the main lot?
I think we have one or two. There was a sycamore, I think, in the very corner. I can't remember if it's one or two up nearest the west entrance there. Actually, I can annotate it. I think we squeezed in either one or two more.
So the main lot essentially stays the same.
It essentially is the exact same.
Yeah, it gets ADA upgrades, which where we gain some efficiency in the layout, we end up burning it up on the ADA parking.
Yeah.
So it's mostly a wash.
I do have one other question, John.
Yes, please.
Is the bridge staying existing or is that getting rebuilt too?
It's existing,
So no plans to change anything there?
right?
Okay.
And I actually, is that it, Bill?
Yes, thank you.
And I actually have another question for Mark. At the end of the day, is this a tear down and rebuild for the locker rooms and the exercise rooms and all that?
The locker room is a tear down and rebuild, but the main building, we're leaving a lot of it intact. Pretty much everything that's to the left of the entry, if you're coming in from the existing parking lot, that portion of the building is pretty much, other than some interior renovation, is staying. That the roof line is staying. We're not taking the roof off. An earlier scheme that you guys saw, many years ago, had an added second story on that portion, and we removed all of the second floor from the building, including the new portion that we're reconfiguring. The portion on the west end of the west side of the entry which is where the preschool is currently, is being cleaned out, and that portion will more or less probably be more or less torn down and rebuilt, because there's so many small little partition walls and so forth, in order to get that that room there, that's the weight room, the new weight room that moves into that location. And it's all one story.
So I know this is late in the process, and I apologize. If in fact that weight room area is being torn down, is there any reason that the multi-purpose room could not be integrated into that area and therefore get it far away from San Ysidro? And by doing that, perhaps connect the parking lot so that we don't have the what I consider to be unfortunate parking planning. I know it's late in the process. I apologize, but
yeah, we've been working on this thing for over a decade. And first of all, if you look at the size of the multi-purpose room there's really not enough room to place it on the other side of the sewer easement and have any portion of the building available. The other thing is, the whole purpose for having the multi-purpose room is to be able to have two program areas, not just one program area. We've also found that, you'll be on the multi-purpose room, you'll be able to hold yoga classes in there, spinning classes, other kinds of things. It's not just playing basketball and volleyball. So it gives them the opportunity to offset the starting times of those various functions. That's one thing. Second, to try to connect the parking areas would require another bridge over the creek. Are you kidding me? Going through the department, even if we could do that, going through, Fish and Game and everyone else to allow us to put another bridge over a creek, I think is pretty unrealistic.
Let me add to that and if you had all the parking coming off of Santa Rosa, then 100% of the parking will come off of Santa Rosa. At least in this scheme, we're able to divert some proportion of that, traffic off of Santa Rosa.
Kevin, when I made the comment about Santa Rosa, I meant to the east of the YMCA. So they're going to be heading over towards Carpinteria, not just back and forth right there at the entry. But no time for debate right here. So that's questions. Is there anybody in the audience, or I think we have one comment letter. Is there anybody else that would like to address the board on item number 6, 591 Santa Rosa Lane, please? Anybody else before I read this?
No, John, thank you.
Okay, so this is from Allison. I had the opportunity to attend the YMCA neighborhood meeting as property line neighbors of the YMCA. I was very pleasantly updated on the renovation. The proposed plans look like a very subtle and tasteful improvement to some much needed updates. I look forward to seeing the remodel plans come to fruition. Okay, comments, please. Back in order. Tip?
Yes, you know what, I actually do like the building better in darker color with some kind of reclaiming wood siding. I think that it probably will disappear into the landscaping. And secondly, I think lower the height to maximum 35 feet will help with those dormers. And I believe with the proper landscaping, the building will tend to disappear. That's really what we aiming to do. But I'm actually a little concerned about the parking, the new parking lot. Can you go back to the parking, the site plan?
Big file.
Sorry, yeah. Big file, even shrunken.
Computers
There you go.
heating up.
Okay, can you, bring it, here we go. So you know what, I'm just not sure how the traffic would work because as you can see it, the only way you can come into this lot is really literally from San Isidro going north. And then when you come out, you go north. No, then you go continue going north. And the only way, and most of the traffic will be from the freeway coming up. And this will be used when you function at the new building. And when everything is done, all the traffic will come out and we'll continue to go north, or you make a U-turn at the light. I'm not even sure can you make a U-turn at light or not. And then I'm not sure where do you go. You turn right in Santa Rosa, or you go continue going north.
I think you go up to Pierre LaFon's and get a cup of coffee.
Well, that's what I'm afraid of. Everyone goes to Pierre LaFon one time. So I'm not sure what is the solution here. How additional parking is always needed, but how do you direct the traffic after you have a function? That might be a big traffic jam every time you do that. So, and I really don't have a solution for this, unfortunately, unless you just close this off and only open it during special event as overflow. I don't know. So that's something that I just don't know how to solve. So those are my comments. Thank you.
Bill?
Yeah, I commend you for really stepping up. I see the constraints obviously you have with the height limitations to making a functioning space, and I think you did a great job. I like the siding that you've chosen. I think that's going to look great. I think carrying that theme through the rest of the building is really it brings it down to scale, and I think it gives it a nice warmth that makes this feel like it fits into the neighborhood. So I like what you've done. I like the dormers that you've added there and that you've reduced the clear stories on top. I like the fact that the landscape is going to get thick and lush and screen this thing away from San Ysidro Road. And we're obviously going to be watching for that. So I like that. In terms of the parking lot, I don't know what the thought behind having the island there is. It seems like if you had a driveway that was wide enough, you could turn right and left in circumstances that were not on an event day. And if you had an event, you'd have somebody controlling traffic there to eliminate that, or you'd cone it off or something. So I think there are ways around that. And I think it's obviously better to have the parking lot separated as you mentioned too, because trying to flow everybody out of one area is going to be quite crowded and might be harder to achieve. So I like the direction you're going. I think it looks good. I'm looking forward to seeing the details once you get that all lined up and set up, and I appreciate the effort you've put in to get this far so far.
Claire?
Thank you.
Comments?
Well, I too really appreciate the fact that you've lowered the building. And I also appreciate the fact that the architects and I know it's probably a team, have come up with this, that getting it into more of a barn looking structure, because that's more historically appropriate for Montecito, you know, like having an old barn somewhere. I mean, we looked at a project recently that they they tore down the old barn, which was just really upsetting to me. And so given the changes that you may have made, I'm much happier with this building than I have been throughout the process, through the years, because it now settles itself down. And I appreciate the fact that the landscape architect has infilled this slope so that it really, I can see that it probably will be pretty thick in there, given the plant material that's been chosen. And the new hedge is great. And, you know, traffic design is, you know, the nemesis probably of all architects, you know, trying to figure out what to do with the cars. And it's going to get worse, you know, I mean, that's just how it's going to be. I mean, you know, we've got more cars in Montecito. I mean, I've lived in Montecito for 60 years and the traffic is a nightmare, you know, a nightmare every day. But that's because everybody wants to drive their car. And then that means that everybody needs a parking lot. So for me, I'm pretty satisfied with this plan moving forward. Those are my comments.
Don Sharp?
Thank you. I really don't have anything further to add. I think that Bill summed up my feelings about the efforts and the progress that's gone into this. And I think this is about as good as it's going to get. And I appreciate, again, all of the comments and ideas and years that have gone into this. Thank you.
Okay, I would like to divide the project into several pieces and comment about each piece. So there's a swimming pool, a locker room, an exercise room, and I guess a yoga room or something. I think all of that is fine. I think that's going to be a very nice addition to the property and to the community. Then there is a multi-purpose room, and the question is, in my mind, if that building were to exist, is this as good a job as could be done? And I think that they have bent over backwards. They're pushing it right to the limits of easements and things of that nature up north to bury it in the building. I think the landscape plan along the street is going to eventually grow this thing in. It may not even be eventually, it may be fairly quickly. So if taking the assumption that that is going to be there, I think that they have done as good a job as they could. But I am left with the question, is this southwestern parking lot and that building, is that good for the community? Now, I know that that's not directly within our purview, but if the ambiance of the community is, I do have some serious questions about whether or not the net result of that building, this parking lot, the right in, right out, is going to be beneficial to the community. And I know that's not my decision, but I hope that those comments go on to the Planning Commission, which is where I think it absolutely is in their purview. So is there anybody else, Mark, Brian, any member of the board want to make some final comments? I know this is an important project. I want to make sure everyone's got a chance to speak. Anybody, please?
I would, Mr. Chair, and thank you for that opportunity. And thank you for all the thoughtful comments. We appreciate that you appreciate how much work has gone in, because it's been a tremendous amount of work. I think John's on the right track here, and it's the same with the neighbors, as you can tell by the lack of comments. I think as important as, as anything, that we've been chipping away. And the goal today was to get at least these kind of comments with the idea of getting these things on the table for the planning commission, which is their role, correct? That was our goal today, is to at least get your board comfortable that we've made the progress to get this project in front of that decision maker, where these issues of traffic and circulation and parking and memberships and all of those things can be vetted, discussed. We'll have an environmental document that's being prepared. We'll have all of those kind of things. So that really is our goal today, is to move this project forward to the decision maker. And I can tell you, it's not going to be in one meeting in one day. We're prepared for that. And this hurdle of the MBAR process to get it to the point that we can get to the planning commission to get some of these issues on the table and hopefully resolved, if not approved as currently designed. That's what we're here for. So that's my summary, and I'm hoping that's the direction we can get, because we're not discounting those concerns and that same concerns that have been expressed from the neighbors, but we got to move it on, get the environmental review completed, and get those important questions in front of the planning commission.
Anybody else, please? Thank you all. I am sure there will be a discussion at the planning commission. Item number 7.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Item number 7, 1188 Summit Road. Is there anybody here to represent that project, please?
Yes, I'm here today. This is
Hey,
Ken
Ken,
Renault with
how are
Appleton.
you? Okay.
Good.
Let me read the minutes. Consider reducing height of garage structure, restudy garage location and access, reduce amount of paving / hardscape, consider reducing floor area, FAR overage may be, I think it's unsupportable.
Hey, John,
Yeah.
those are the wrong minutes. The minutes are from
These are old.
March. Those are old.
I did note that, but I don't have any other new ones, so.
Do you
I
have
can
them?
read them for you.
Yes, please do that, Ken.
Okay. These are from 3/10/22. The FAR is high. Would like to see detailed FAR numbers for the neighborhood. Board may not be able to approve the project with an FAR as high as it currently is. Number 2, provide a landscape plan showing vegetation around proposed structures. And number 3, identify the existing screening and trees around the property. Those are the 3.
Thank you. Ken, since you did such a wonderful job, would you continue?
Okay, well, you guys have been blessed with Jessie proposing this, and unfortunately she has a dear friend back in Michigan with a brain tumor.
Ooh.
So she's there right now. So she has prepared what I should talk about. And so I'm going to read some of it, as well as just kind of go through this. The FAR study was prepared back in October when we first came to see you guys, October 7th, 2021. And you guys reviewed it at that time. And then there was a little bit of time that lapsed. I think the next time we saw you was in December. And it was kind of forgotten what that all meant. And then March, it didn't end up being in our little packet of things. So here it is in its full glory. 51% of the lots in this neighborhood exceed the FAR. As you know, this is an older part of Montecito. And a lot of the lots there have been subdivided. Our particular house was built in 1917. It's a Winston Sewell house. And if you kind of see all that little red area there, we're lot number 21 that says project site. At one time, the house kind of occupied a good percentage of that entire block. It has since been subdivided over the time. In fact, the house right adjacent to us in the yellow is one of the kids who grew up in the house. The house itself, I'm not sure was the original owner, but the owner who our client purchased it from had been in there many, many, many years. And the house is pristine and absolutely beautiful. There's even a little hidden bookcase where they have the notes of all of the different like the mechanics that work on the house over the years, the mechanical guy, the electrical guy, and everything is perfect and pristine and working in the house itself. The subdivisions over time and the lot, when we get to the lot plan, you'll see it's a little unfortunate how it was all divided up. But so now we have a nice house on an existing lot that's been cut down. And if you look at the FAR, even before we propose anything, it's up at about 160%, just based on the house that's there. Now you do see on our study that, and this is from Jesse, 51% of the lots are over the FAR. Of those 51%, 60% of them are 125% over the recommended, and 18% are 150 over the recommended. As part of an old estate, if you look at those numbers there in terms of like the one right up at the top, 192%, that's a 1911 house. The next one down at 1985, the 1958 is 131%. You then go down to 1911 again, 134%, 156% at 1912. So we really, ours is actually 1917. We didn't put the date it was built there, but there haven't really been any additions done on this house. It's really just the lot got small. But the neighbor who sold the son of the people who had owned the house for many years, he's our neighbor, our closest neighbor, and they have a very compatible relationship. He built that house prior to their parents actually selling this house. And of course, when we go through this, we're going to do a little lot line adjustment. You can see here on this site here where there's kind of this unfortunate little tongue that goes up there. Yeah, we have a lot line easement there. That's Bob Lamborn, the real estate agent, and he's very amenable to kind of see where that green landscape easement line is there. That will actually turn that into a lot line adjustment. So it's kind of an equal swap of land from one to the other. So that's our study. What we've done here is what the clients would like to do is they would like to move into their main house as soon as their interior designers are finished. They'd like to get the pool built by summer, and our contractor is saying that he could build that. We thought we might go ahead and just get that pool permit independently. Probably my mistake. I didn't realize you needed a land use permit to put a pool in. And so at the 11th hour, we kind of realized we needed to put that in. And so we connected it to this project with our planner, thinking that, that would be a simpler process than just processing it separately. So ideally today, we'd like to at least get through this so that we could build the pool. And in order to build the pool, we need a land use permit. If you look on the existing plan, there is a carport in that back service area. It's kind of a vestige from before. Maybe some of you remember it. It's one sheet up. It's kind of where we show the pool. Yeah, there it is. See that carport there? So that's kind of back in the old service area here where we're putting the pool. So we're gonna get all the traffic out of the back there and move that carport area to the front where it's heavily wooded, and you'll see that on the proposed plan. And then we're adding a small, what we consider kind of modest pool cabana, if you go to the proposed plan. And we looked at that since the time before, and we realized that we're up on the percentage. So we worked with our clients and we looked at all of the gym equipment there. She's in the entertainment business, and he's in the high-tech industry, and they work out quite a bit. And so the cabana is kind of a gym / cabana for the pool. We looked at all of their equipment and how it fit in there. We have a modest bathroom, some storage for the equipment, and then the equipment as it's in the room. And we reduced the square footage from 600 square feet down to 560 square feet. And then, of course, the garage, we had that as a carport in the beginning when we started looking at the FAR chart that you guys provide us. It really didn't matter whether it was a carport or a garage in terms of area. So we just decided to put some garage doors on it, and that's at 752 square feet. So we reduced the square footage of that building also.
Okay.
So I think the last time you saw this project, it was at 172%, and it's reduced to 170%. Of course, as you know, we started off at 160 almost percent. And so any square footage that we add at all, because the lot is quite small and it's like just at an acre, the percentage goes up, with very small square footage added or subtracted. Like you see, if we take 100 square feet out, it went down by 2%. So we have all of the drawings here. I think you've seen these before in a design point of view. We wanted to have you look at those. We'd like to get preliminary final on the entire project, if that's possible today. And we have the landscape at the end, and it shows some pictures of the house and the site. And you'll see that it's heavily wooded. And you'll see that it's if you could blow up into where those 3 house pictures are, kind of in the upper left-hand corner.
Yeah, Bill, keep going. Yeah, this is what I want. I want to see the house.
Yeah, there's the house.
There it is.
Yes, it's built out of, it's actually built out of, well, it's a wooden structure, but then it has the hollow terracotta tile or bricks all around it. So that it's the thickness of the wall is a combination of terracotta tile and wood. Most of the electrical was still knob and tube, and it was still all functioning. There wasn't a light bulb in the house that was not working. And all of the plumbing had been replaced underneath in the basement. It has a full basement in it, but the plumbing had been replaced to copper other than the plumbing that leads up the walls. That's still galvanized. So that we're in the process of replacing the galvanized piping. Of course, it had all the, it was so well taken care of. It has all of the original gravity furnaces that are still working. And, you can see it's an impeccable house. There wasn't a doorknob or a switch. It had hardly been added onto over the years. It has a new kitchen from the 70s. But other than that, it's got a great oak tree right in the middle of the motor court. The oak pretty much covers the entire motor court. If you go back to the site plan. And so even though that looks like a lot of paving, and it's very low, I mean, you can barely get a car underneath it. Certainly any kind of pickup truck or any kind of truck has to kind of drive around the perimeter of the oak tree. In terms of the landscaping, we're just landscaping the edges where we're doing the addition. We're doing as little paving as we can to get into the garage, and that front yard area is very densely wooded. There's a redwood tree there. You can see that patch of redwood trees kind of right up at the top there. And you see all those, those are all of the trunks of that tree. It's a majestic, great tree. We've worked with Duke McPherson to make sure that that's protected. Of course, our client definitely doesn't want to lose that. We have a couple of oak trees up at the top there, which those little wings that are on the garage are really just service areas. They're kind of a part of the wall and the formal structure. And so those are open to the sky. So the only part with a roof on it is where the 3 cars park. So that front yard, both sides of the front yard are heavily wooded. We don't have kind of a driveway shot, but you can't see the house from the street. I mean, you'd never know it's there. And then from the neighbors, it's all hedged. It's highly hedged all the way around the property. And there's, oh yeah, there it is right there. There's your front view there. So you can see, from the driveway, it doesn't even have a gate in the driveway. It's just very heavily landscaped. and that will all remain.
Is that it?
Well, I didn't follow Jesse's schedule here exactly, but you can see the landscaping is going to match the existing. There's a hydrozone plan and a soil test on the next couple of sheets. It's all low water. There's a little bit of medium water there, but it's all within the realm of what we would want and what our client would like to have. We also have a materials board that kind of shows you the materials, and that we're matching the existing there. It's quite a handsome building. After they finish the interiors, there won't be any, there'll just be a little bit of touch-up painting required. It's actually quite a nice paint job on the house. As I say, the owners who took care of it were very house proud. And so we'll be keeping that all the same. There'll be a little bit of touch-up here and there. Our exterior lights will match those lights there. Of course, the light bulb itself will be up in the hood of that light, and the glass will be frosted. And all of those notes are in our plans to show. Yeah, there it is right there. Light will be housed in the lid of the fixture. I think we have 3 exterior lights that we're adding, 2 at the garage and 3 at the little cabana. If we could make the cabana a little bit smaller, we would, but once you put in the treadmill and the rowing machine and a few mats for Pilates, I think our room is about 16 by 20, which is, which we thought was reasonable. Of course, any square footage that we add to this continues to push us up over the FAR. So we're hoping that you're able to approve this. I noticed the first thing it says here is the board may not be able to approve this, and I'm just curious whether that's been determined or where we go from here.
And that is what we are doing today. Are you done, Ken?
Yes.
Okay, question.
Well, I reserve the right to come back if I can.
No, you've had it, bro. Okay, Bill, please. Questions?
Well, questions. I see on your window schedule you show shutters, but I don't see any shutters on any of the new building. Are you doing shutters anywhere? This is
yeah, no, we don't have shutters on the proposed one. It must be a leftover from
it looks like shutters on the schedule, and I didn't see them. So okay, that was all. Thank you.
Okay.
Don.
No questions.
Claire.
No questions.
Elida.
I couldn't tell from the other drawings how much existing lawn there is, and if you're planning on adding more lawn.
Well, you can see it in this plan here. You can see it's a little kind of a thumbnail shaped part in the lower right-hand corner of the site, down at the bottom there, right? A little bit further down, further, all the way down.
Oh,
down.
I see.
Yeah, that little area there, that's existing and that's to remain. There's a hard terrace back there, and so we're not adding any grass.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Are you done?
Yes.
Tip?
Yes, I have some questions. Question number 1, Ken, maybe you can re-clarify what is the existing FAR and what is the proposed FAR?
Well, the existing is about 160%, a shade under 160, and then the proposed is 170.
Okay, my question number 2, can we go back to the site plan?
The landscape or regular?
Yeah, right here, 56 Bill. So you were mentioning about the swapping of land to the extra land around the new pool cabana.
Yeah, that's not essential to what we're doing. It's just something for information only.
So my question is, at this point, if not anything in concrete, it's just something that you guys were thinking about.
No, it's actually been drafted up and it's been signed by the owners. Currently, it's a landscape easement. There's an 8-foot, you can see there's an 8-foot wall there now. So practically speaking,
Oh, I see.
yeah, so practically speaking, you know, it's as if it's in that motor court there. And then that sliver that goes up there, if you look at the aerial, Bob Lamborn has kind of planted and taken over that area. So practically speaking already, they've all been kind of taken over by the two different owners. And it's just a formality to kind of clean up the lot line at this point in time. And that's been all drafted up, and that's in the process of being submitted.
So, so the area to the lower of the 8-foot wall currently being used by the current owner?
Yeah, it's a big landscape planter. That's a big, see where it says 6-inch palm? That's a big planter. It's kind of a raised planter. It's an old school kind of thing. And you can see our current proposal shows how we did a little area swap, and our cabana was over the setback line. But that, and that's a back and forth in terms of, that's what's allowable.
I guess my question is, that area is being used by the current owner now?
Well, it's just planting, but yes, correct. It's their land, practically speaking, because it has a landscape easement there. See the green line, it says landscape easement.
I see. Okay,
Yeah.
for the benefit of the current project.
That's right. No, not for the benefit. It's been in place for many years, or I don't know. Yeah, that one's been in place for many years, probably since Landlord owned it, and that's how they dealt with it then. When our purchasers bought it, we suggested that they go ahead and do the lot line adjustment, since we know Bob Lamborn, he's a real estate agent, and so we approached him, and he was amenable to that idea. But it has nothing to do with this particular project. In the
Yeah,
sense
but it had to
that,
do with the location of the new pool cabana.
yeah, well, that wouldn't move or change. That's like at the.
Well, I
That
mean,
wouldn't
this is
move or change.
just my question. So right now, the way you have it, the pool cabana is encroaching into a side yard setback.
That's right. Yeah, and there's that variable setback that you, yes, you reserve that on that side, correct?
Oh, right there it is.
Yeah.
And what is the closest corner to the property line for the pool cabana? Right there,
5 feet.
5 feet, okay?
Yeah, that's the minimum that's allowed.
And the pool is on the right-hand side,
Yeah, right there.
and the pool is a part of this application, or the pool is a part of separate application?
No, it's part of this application because it, as I say, it was probably my fault. I didn't realize you needed a land use permit to put a pool in. So it's part of this application.
Okay, and the pool is any grading for the pool area?
No, that's a motor court back there now. You can park your cars back there. It's going to be pretty much at the same elevation. We'll excavate the pool, and I'm not even sure if we'll have it. Yeah, you can see it there. It's all hardscape back there. It's solid concrete.
And do you have a landscape plan for that area?
Well, yeah,
Yeah, that was the one we were looking at.
yeah. Yeah.
And I can't see from here, where do you put the pool equipment?
Pardon me?
The pool equipment,
Oh, the pool equipment is in this lower corner right here.
which one?
Down
You're right
here.
there where you're circling it.
So it's right in the setback line,
That's right.
okay? And then back to the other building, the garage. Can we go back to the other building?
Yeah.
Please? Can you tell me what's existing, what's new? Maybe we can go to elevation, I can see better.
Oh, that's a brand new building. The part that's roofed over is where the cars park. And the two wings are, yeah, there's nothing there now. It's,
Oh, so it's a brand new building.
yeah. But the trees, I mean, we're taking out one tree there. You can see, there's one tree there. It's a pine tree where the driveway enters. Yeah,
So-
right under there right under where it says 10 feet. There's a
Bill,
tree.
do we have the elevations of that building?
Sure, 8-inch pine there. Yeah, but there are no trees in that exact.
And yeah, can we go to elevation of the building, please?
Yeah.
I mean, we saw them we've seen it in elevation. Think maybe that would help Tim.
Yeah.
There it is.
So the addition is that 800 square feet, right?
It's about, yeah, it was 800, now it's 752.
And then the
742.
area to the left, to the right is just a
Yeah,
storage.
one's for landscape equipment, just kind of keeping the yard in the front area, kind of the gardeners and with their their lawnmowers and the trash bins, and just to keep the area neat. There's a motor court wall that the cabana is that service area in the back has a motor court wall. We thought this was a nice way to address kind of the building at the street where it's part of a wall. And so the extensions actually just kind of added to the wall part of the idea. And it also has a very nice function in terms of, keeping the landscape trash and
And
landscape.
then I couldn't see from it, what is the height of the elevation for the building?
Well, it says 10.6 there to
Is
the
it
top
10?
plate. Yeah,
What?
10.6.
Well, 10.6, so to the roof is about 12.
Yeah, well, maybe another, I guess you could say that, maybe another foot, because it's,
Foot and a half.
yeah.
Okay, and 12 feet.
Taller, yeah.
Is there any reason it had to be 12 feet high?
Well, it's nice inside, but I guess it could be a foot or two lower. That gives us our approval.
Okay, great. And so right now you are trying to get the approval for the pool, for the garage, and then for the pool cabana.
Yes,
of it,
correct.
everything.
All of it. That would be ideal, yes, but
They're on for a preliminary final tip.
Yep.
Yeah, for all three.
Everything.
Well, we've been here 4 times, so we're hoping we're getting close.
Okay, all right. That's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Can we go to the FAR study, please? And I count 33 lines, and you are the top, you're the third from the highest. Doesn't that make your proposal within the top 10% of all items that are on this list? Does that sound right to you?
Well, I think we're probably up there just before we even do anything.
And did you have an opportunity to find the average of all of those properties? Add everything up and divide by 33.
No, we didn't do that.
And does 107% to 108% sound reasonable for the neighborhood on this study that you have?
I have no idea what reasonable means. I look at the
Does the calculation, is it reasonable to assess that the calculation probably turns out to be 107 to 108%?
I don't understand.
Okay, very good. Thank you. That's the question. That's good. Is there anybody else questions before I ask for the public? Anybody? Okay. Is there anybody attending this meeting that would like to address the board on item number 7, 1188 Summit Road, please?
We have nobody with their hand up and nobody waiting.
Okay, thank you. Sharon, your voice sounds very different. Okay.
Sorry.
So that's fine. So back to comments. Is this approvable with the FAR and with the information that they have provided us to date, both for preliminary and final? Bill?
So I look at this as, first of all, the house is large. We've got that. I like the idea that they're adding a garage, covered parking. They had a carport, kind of insignificant back in the back here. They're making it a garage. So I could see definitely adding that because it makes a nicer product. I think at the end of the day, you're covering the vehicles and storage and all that gets hidden behind walls. So the question to me is the cabana and whether or not the square footage of that, and I haven't done the math, but if we added that to, if we added the garage to the FAR and it gets us to 165, and then we add the cabana to it and it makes it 170. is that an acceptable number? I don't know. I mean, the fact that it's single story makes it more supportable. It's now gaining a little bit of square footage distance between it and the street and the neighbor, so I like that. I mean, I'm gonna maybe defer to some of the other board members to see what their feeling is. I mean, I'm kind of on the fence in supporting it. I don't like the fact that it's the high side of the neighborhood. Obviously we've got some 192, 172. It's the third one in line. And as you did your average, John, you're at 107, 108, which is kind of like right in line with what we've been accepting. So I'm going to defer for a moment, at least, on a vote for the FAR, but I could see adding the garage for sure, just because of the functionality of it, and I could support that. And the design is fine. So I think it comes down to FAR with me.
Don Sharp, please.
Well, that is good food for thought. I must say, I think because the site is so large that, in my opinion, the FAR becomes less important with larger sites. And I don't think this is impacting the neighbors. I don't think it's particularly overbuilding. And if it were to come down, another couple hundred square feet of building, it still would look about the same. So I think the design is good. And for once, I really don't object to the high FAR number. Thank you.
And the rest of the project is okay, architectural, et cetera?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Oh,
Claire?
yeah.
Claire?
I'm here. I'm
Okay.
here. I wanted to look at something. But I kind of agree with Mr. Sharp. I mean, having been at this, I just figured this out earlier on another project, for 30 years. Been sitting here for 30 years, dealing with projects over and over and over. I was part of the team that put the whole thing together. And FAR has never, it's called a recommended. It's not a demand that every building fits the FAR numbers. That's why it wasn't put that, it was put in place to figure out whether buildings were compatible with the surrounding areas. Not a fixed number that says we can do it or not, So for me, this project is one of those anomalies that in the beginning, 30 years ago, we knew was going to happen, where we had old lots, old buildings, and they were going to never fit the numbers. It was never possible. And this is one of those, and I find it just fascinating that the whole process in my mind. I think this is an extremely gorgeous historical house. It's a historical lot. The new owners have done the best they can to actually create it to be better than it was. And I have no problem with either the cabana or the garage. In this day and age, it's appropriate. It's what's needed. And so I'm way happy to give it final approval.
Elida?
No comment.
Chip?
Well, I have a little bit different perspective than both Claire and Don, and for the following reasons. Number one, as I heard it, this was part of the probably bigger estates, and then it was subdivided, getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So now we're stuck with a large home on the smaller lot. So it wasn't never designed to be on a smaller lot. So that's number one. Number two is that normally, when we have a smaller lot, we allow bigger FAR because the lots are so small. So you need bigger houses to meet the needs. So usually on the lot of almost an acre, it's rarely that we go on the newer project, a 10% or, even a little higher. So if this house, when this house was built, it was on a bigger site, then probably the FAR was just fine at that point. And even though FAR was no FAR at that time. So the question is, we are moving forward now, the land is much smaller, even though it's still almost an acre, which that's about a typical, lot size in Montecito. And how much bigger are we continue to go, on site like this? And I don't mind going over the FAR, as John mentioned. It's a 10, 15, 20% now. It's go even, 70% over. Now, probably, when you look at it, probably one of the highest we will, if we approve it, the highest we ever approve of the site of this size. So that's something that is troubling me. Number two is that I'm still puzzled about the location of the pool cabana compared to the property line. The way it is now, and if there's an easement, I could understand that it's still the property line, so it's really 5 feet encroachment. It might be fine, but it's something that I guess it could work out. The pool equipment that probably, as we know, we don't allow them by the property lines, so probably that had to be moved into to get away from the property lines. And then, which is the last thing, is about the location of the new garage, which I think is fine. I think the height could be a little lower proportionally. I think when I look at that compared to the main house, the one-story portion, it might be a little tall, a little big in the corner. It's just a little bit out of scale in terms of height. So that's where I leave it. I don't know. I just want to make sure that we apply the same standard how we do review projects, this one or any other projects, so we don't have a different guideline, different standards. That's it.
Okay, if people, are you done, Tip?
Yes, I'm done.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry if I interrupted. As we all know, there are some neighborhoods that we review that routinely are well over this. Edge Cliff down by the Miramar is an example where every single house is over the FAR by a significant amount. It's like
Fernald Point.
Fernald Point is another one. And
Every
there's one-
house is 30% over the FAR.
Okay, Claire, it's my turn now.
Okay.
So there are some neighborhoods where the entire neighborhood is over. I don't see that here. I agree with Tip that, there's got to be some consistency. Don, you made the comment on a large parcel. This is actually less than an acre, so I am not quite sure why you think this is a large parcel, but you can answer that later. I am going to vote no. I think that there is such a thing as a limit. And I think this thing is way over the top. I have heard some wavering and things like that with the board's permission. Oh, and so I think that Bill Wolf made the distinction. Maybe I can support the garage, but not the cabana. It's time to fish or cut bait on this project one way or the other. So what I'd like to do is to take a straw vote, if we can, really quick, to see where everybody is. Bill, yes, no, or you'd approve one part of it, but not all of it, please?
I'm gonna vote yes on both because I look at the site and I don't feel like it's impacting the neighbors. I know the numbers of the numbers, but
so you're a yes.
I'm a yes.
Don, I heard you as a yes.
I am a yes.
Claire, I heard you as a yes.
Yes.
Elida?
I haven't had enough information throughout the prior months, so I abstained.
Okay, so you're going to recuse yourself. Please make that very clear in the vote. Tip, are you a yes or a no?
I like aspects of the project. I want to see if the pool cabana can be a little smaller, then I think I can vote yes for the project.
No, wait. We have a project before us. Yes or no, please?
No, as a way presented right now.
Okay, and I'm a no. Kimberly, would you please come back on?
I am here.
We have 6 members today. 3 are willing to vote yes. 1 wants to abstain. Is this a 3-2 vote, which means it passes, or is this a 3-3 vote, which means it fails? Please.
I am not entirely sure on that. I'm going, go ahead, Sharon.
Want me to get David Villalobos?
Yeah, could you go ask him? My assumption is it's a 3-2-1 and it would pass.
Okay, very good. So if we could go and do that. Ken, if you can just be patient with us a minute so we get this done right, please.
Thank you. Yes, I will.
Some intermission music.
What would you propose, Bill?
I could.
A tango?
No.
It takes 2 to tango?
The going out to the lobby, going out to the lobby. You know, good old days of movie theaters.
I think you just dated yourself, Bill.
I know.
What do you got, Kimberly?
But it was before they were doing organ in between, right?
Right.
Did you get through to David?
I think Sharon's working on it. I'm actually on a different floor.
Okay.
Probably should ask David if it's considered a no, then it is a tie.
So it's
Well,
3.
Sharon, do you have an answer, please?
Yeah, it's 3-2.
Okay, so will either Bill, Don, or Claire make a motion? And in that motion, we all know that this is a fairly far over the FAR. Would you please explain what the unique circumstances are here that would permit that to occur? So one of those 3, please do that.
Okay, well, I'll make the motion to approve for final.
And preliminary.
Preliminary and final for this project on Summit Road 1188. We realize or recognize it is 170% over FAR. We accept it because it is providing a garage, which provides a good function, covered parking for the property. And we feel that the cabana is a small single-story structure that is not an impact to the neighborhood. And we do recognize that the existing single-family home is already existing over the FAR. So we accept the larger than normal FAR for those reasons.
Is there a second, please?
I will second that.
Is there any further discussion, please?
Yes, I want to see if we can add a couple things, for example, about the pool equipment that should be out of the setback line.
No, actually, I think pool equipment is allowed in the setback.
Well, but is that okay with everyone on the board?
Well, I mean, we've done it on other projects. We've allowed the pool equipment to be outside of the setback.
Unscreened? Unscreened?
It would need to meet the proper decibel ratings for sure at the property line. So I guess if that can be achieved at the property line, then I'd be okay with it.
Yeah,
Ideally, moving it back would be better.
Well, does your motion include that or not, please?
Yes. How do you want to word that, Tip? Why don't you add?
We
So,
plan
I
to
would-
find a different spot for that pool equipment.
Let's
by the way.
give specific, this is it, guys, preliminary final.
Okay, so I would like to maybe a couple things. Number one, add a modification to the motion that the pool equipment to be even located within the setback line, then had to meet the sound decibel, which is, I believe, less than the 55 dB or 65 dB.
It's 65. It's done that by ordinance.
By ordinance.
Yeah.
Or keep it out of the and it should be screened, number two, and then or provide location away from the setback line. That's one item. Number two, I think that we need to put it in the motion that the pool cabana as now is encroaching to a side yard setback, because that is what we had to deal with the existing property line, and that's so to be on record. And the last thing is that I'm not sure the board members agree with me about the height for the garage. Are you happy with the 12 feet height?
I'm fine because I think you'd want a 9-foot ceiling, and then structure would take you to 10 plus a bit of parapet. Maybe you could get it down to 11 or 11.6 maximum height. What do you think?
I think a little bit would help, but it's up to other board members,
There are
I think
three board members that matter here, Don, Claire, and Bill, since we're voting no.
this is done. I think that the fact that the openings do not face any street or really any neighbors, given that distance, that the height would be adequate the way it is now.
I agree.
Okay, so that's all I have.
So if I could clarify, Bill, could you go over the amendment to your motion as you would like it to read?
So the amendment would be for the pool equipment to either be moved out of the setback or certainly to meet the minimum required ordinance for sound decibels.
Okay, so Bill, it's gonna meet the minimum requirements by ordinance, period. So it's either out of the setbacks or at a screen wall. Those, the other one is a non-starter. It's already gonna happen.
Yeah.
So do you want either of those, or shall we leave that up, please?
I would say let's move it out of the setback or at a screen wall.
And how height of that screen wall, please?
I think we could go 5 feet.
Very good. Okay.
So I think actually, if you look at the plan that's in front of us, you can see that the pool equipment has, and on two sides of it has an 8-foot wall. So if we're going to recommend that it's going to be that it be walled, I think it should the 8 feet wall should be consistent with the exterior wall of the property line.
Yeah, I didn't see that wall.
Or move it out of the setback.
Let's move it out of the setback.
Okay. Everybody okay with that? So there's
I agree.
3 foot. Okay, so preliminary final as approved with the pool equipment to be moved out of the setback. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
All those in favor, please.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
Nay. And those that abstain, please.
Abstain.
Thank you very much. Ken, thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Item
Thank you very
number
much.
8. Item number 8, and then I also want to talk about the COVID stuff after 8, if you remember. Okay, so number 8, 2255 Feather Hill Road.
Bill, are you controlling?
I am, yeah. And
So I wanted to help you a little bit there.
they ask us to break those down into
Yeah, if you.
smaller. So you start with 1A and just
Danny,
open.
do you have the previous minutes? I don't see those in our file. I don't know. Were there previous minutes somewhere?
I didn't see them, I don't think.
Hold on, let me see if I have them.
Well, it was 1/13/22. It was pretty close.
There's.
And Bill, I think if you start with the renderings at the very end of that list, it's gonna, everybody will remember the project.
Okay.
The last 3 files.
Oh, all right.
Oh, the renderings?
Yeah, just, we'll all remember what the project is by looking at that.
Yeah, well, that's one.
And we did a site visit of this too, right, Danny?
Correct.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, I remember. This has got the really nice driveway that you walk into.
Yep.
Comes with the birds.
So this is here for final, so we're just gonna go through all the drawings right now, right?
Yeah, he's already received preliminary.
Correct.
Yeah, I kind of reviewed them already, so.
I mean, structure and mechanical are in there. You don't have to open those unless
Yeah,
you want to.
Yeah, there's one sheet that we might want to, but.
Bill, did you get a chance to look at these?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, so did I. Claire?
Yes.
Okay, good. Elida?
No, I didn't.
Okay, very good. Thank you. So, Bill, if you want to
scroll through.
Danny, I think it would be to your advantage to let us just kind of.
Yeah, and Scott Menzel's here. I think he's online too, if there's any questions on the landscape. So.
Just so everybody can see it. Please.
Well, are we just scrolling through the, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, this is for final. We've already done the hard, heavy lifting.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's fine. I just wanted to find out what we were doing. And Danny, you didn't make any changes between preliminary and final.
There's been no changes to the exterior. The only change I think to note is that we have a kind of a mechanical crawl space that got a little larger because of our coordination with mechanical engineering as we prepare for construction documents. They asked for a little more room.
Was that the crawl?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That raised the height of the building?
No, it's just, it all happens there's on the left there, it all happens.
Yeah, over here.
Yeah, it all happens kind of below existing floor. So no visible change, just underground.
Interesting detail you had here.
Yes.
Bill, I have 4 areas that I was concerned about. Shall we jump onto those? This is one of them right here, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, is that okay with everybody?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
so I thought, I was not sure what the heck was going on here.
Yeah, I can clarify. It's very small print, and it should be larger, but there's a note right in the middle underneath that fixture. They make a certified dark sky compliant fixture that it's comprised of like a sheet metal hood that goes around the bulb, and it's installed by the manufacturer and delivered as a dark sky compliant fixture. They don't have an image of it, but that's why it's noted. We've added that note just to clarify that that is in fact a dark sky compliant fixture, and it's kind of a sleeve that tube that goes around that bulb, so you can't see the bulb.
This is gas lamp.
No, it's a bevel fixture, which do make gas fixtures, but this is their electric version.
Oh, all right.
So Bill, can we go back out to the list of drawings or list of,
yeah.
Okay, so there's a material board number 2.
Is that it there?
Yes.
That's number 1. Number 2, it's above it for some reason. Danny, in the upper left-hand corner, I'm not quite sure what I know cream to light brown color. I'm not quite sure I know what that means.
Yeah, it's a manufactured product, and it's not as white as the picture looks. We have samples of it.
So it's not a painted surface?
No, it's not a painted surface. It's a manufactured stone with kind of an overgrout applied to it, and it's a tan.
Is everybody okay with this?
I am.
The description sounds good. The picture doesn't seem to match the description.
Okay, so as long as it's not going to be painted, I'm okay with it. Can we go back out? Painted. Thank you. Can we go back out to that list of drawings again, please?
Yeah.
There's a number 3 landscape plan, please, up right there, please. PDF page 4, please.
There we go.
Okay, on the right-hand side of this page, I just want everybody to make sure that they understand that this is what's getting approved.
There we go.
Scott, are you there also? Okay. What I want to look at is that there's 4 or 5 olive trees on the right-hand side that are being taken out because of the fire department turnaround. And those are providing an existing buffer to the neighbor to the east. I don't know what we do about it, but when I saw it, I don't think I was aware of it at preliminary. Maybe I was. Do other members of the board have comments about this, please?
I have Danny or Scott. This seems extra wide for fire turnaround. Are you using this as parking as well? I mean, you have parking here, because it looks like you could go half that distance for the fire.
Yeah, it's currently a gravel parking area. It's actually larger than what's there. We've added some landscaping to that motor court to the south. We've reduced it a bit. We're adding the pavement for the fire turnaround. And so we're we're maintaining a parking spot outside of the turnaround, and we're paving this already existing motor court. And there is a tall mature ficus hedge along that property line that's dense, and those olives are fairly newly planted. They're not big mature olive trees. I mean, Scott can speak to that better than
Danny's right. In fact, I think that ficus hedge is taller than the olive trees are right now. So I'd argue that nothing's lost with the removal of those olives.
Anybody on the board, please?
Did anybody did you guys do a site visit on this?
Yes.
Yes, we did.
And the olives were there and
You know, it's not an area that we spent very much time on, Elida. We were mostly on the left-hand side of this plan for whatever reason.
yeah,
You can't do everything.
yeah.
I think I know we have some photographs in the set. I think it's 1B in that document. I'm just trying to check if we have, yeah, we do have a, well, yeah, I think there's a picture there.
That it?
So where is that?
The left bottom picture. You can see it on the right.
Yeah,
side.
you can see that on that bottom left picture. You can kind of see it on the right. I mean, it's a big hedge to the right, on the very right corner of that.
This right here?
No, sorry, the left image, but right, yeah, right in the background, you can see that hedge, and look how small the olives are. Zoom in.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, see, that's the olive we're removing. See that?
Oh,
That's the olive.
Yeah.
The olives we're worried about?
It says olive. It should have said Olivette.
Sorry.
Olive hit.
Okay, anybody have concern about those now that they've explained a little bit more about them?
No concern.
Okay, back to that same drawing that we were on before, please. Landscape number 3.
This it?
Page 8, 9, and 10. And guess what we're going to be talking about, Scott?
Oh, boy.
Yeah, and I want to remind you, John, you guys reviewed this plan for preliminary. There have been no changes to it.
And we are now at final. So does anybody have the concern about the number of light fixtures on this plan?
They're 2-watt fixtures, 15 feet on center for all the path lights.
And how many tree lights do you have, Scott?
There's, I think, 2 in the Magnolia near the master wing.
Right here.
And that might be it.
I saw 1 when I was looking at it. Down in the lower left-hand corner of the dining room area.
Yeah.
Is everybody okay with this or not, please?
Well, what's coming up for me, John, is that the applicant has said that we reviewed this plan. I don't remember reviewing the plan because normally we review lighting plans at the end. So that, you know, I mean, this is like a whole new lighting plan. And I don't remember ever commenting on this lighting plan.
Claire, is this lighting plan okay with you, or do we need to have a longer discussion about it, please?
Well,
take a few minutes to take a look at it,
that's
please.
what I'm trying to do right now, is I'm trying to determine whether the X's are not the lighting plan.
No, these are.
Oh, there they are. Yeah. And those are pathway plan, those are pathway along the driveway?
Yeah, two waters.
We're essentially illuminating any paths of travel. So those along the driveway, I personally don't like the idea of illuminating a driveway, but we are illuminating the walk. It's essentially a walkway between the guest house, garage, and main house.
Do you have any lights up in trees or shooting down or highlighting up?
No, there's no up lights. The down lights, there's 2 in that Magnolia. They're a downward facing hanging light.
Right.
That's in a very kind of private, protected spot of the site too. I mean, the next neighbor is hundreds of feet away.
My gut is that you've got a few too many, that you could probably reduce at least a third of these.
And my sense is there was a project on Picacho Lane, a very large 6-acre parcel, and we asked that had lighting not too far off from this, and we asked them to significantly reduce it.
Yeah.
Well, and that's where I was going is I think there's too many pathway lights on this project. I mean, I mean, every path is lighted and all the way along the driveway is lit. So the whole thing has got too many pathway lights.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
typically a lining manufacturer would recommend for a 2-watt fixture a 10 to 12 on center spacing, and I've gone to 15. The entire driveway is not illuminated. It's only the section between the guest house and the main house. I know there's, it's a big property and a lot of pathways, and when you look at the total number of fixtures, that quantity does seem high, but I would argue for
why every pathway has to be lit. That's my thing on it,
Okay, so one last area, please. Bill.
Yes.
File number 6. It's an electrical plan, please. 6E. Yeah. And that's the same like PDF page 6.
Yeah, that was the one we were looking at there, yeah.
Okay.
With that fixture.
Okay, so we've already looked at that. Okay.
Yeah.
So I know this is a little bit out of order from what we normally do. It sounds to me like, okay, does anybody on the board need to see any other drawings? This is not about what we want to do with the drawings. This is about gathering information. Anybody else feel they need to see anything else?
Danny, I was looking for trellis detail. I saw the structure had a drawing for it. Did you have an architectural drawing for
Danny?
It's only in the structural. It's quite a simple structure, post and beam, wood, timber.
Square ends?
Yes.
Yes.
Had a little camphor or something on it. I just didn't know if there was something else I was missing in that respect. It's in here somewhere, I think. Because these are broken up, it's hard to remember what file it was in. Oh, there you go. That's it right there. And then you have cross members on top, which were another detail.
Yeah.
3 something.
Bill, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
What he's got shown.
Yeah, that was it.
I mean, they show up a little bit in this section.
Yeah. So I'm assuming too, Danny, that you're going to have probably copper flashing or bituthane on top. Otherwise, you're going to have some
Copper cap, yes.
rotted pieces there. Okay. All right.
Any other drawings we need to review, please? Okay, any questions from what we've had? And then we'll go into comments. Any questions beyond what we've already had? Okay, so I'd like to.
Sorry, one more, John. Iron railing, Danny? Detail for that anywhere? No?
I didn't hear any trail.
Guardrail?
Oh, iron guardrail.
Yeah, I didn't see that anywhere.
It's on base sheets that has interior.
Architectural sheet somewhere?
But he's talking about the exterior.
I see the interior.
Yeah, exterior, but we only have that balcony detail, not the ones.
Yeah,
But it will be similar to the interior.
Yeah, the intention is that it matches, a similar design to the interior railing we have detail of.
Okay, which is that guy there?
Yes.
Well, it kind of showed here, I guess. Okay, well, that'll.
Anything else, Bill?
Nope, that's it.
Anything else, anybody else, please?
No.
Okay, I'd like to ask if anybody in attending this meeting would like to address the board on item number 8, 2255 Feather Hill Road, please. Anybody?
No one's here.
Thank you. Okay, close public comment. My sense as chair and listening to everything is everybody is okay with everything except maybe the iron guardrail and the site lighting. Is that correct or not correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
In the past, what we've done with the site lighting is have a subcommittee come on in and have a little chat with the applicant. Do we want to do that on this one? So that would be the most efficient way to do it.
Well, is it a chat, John, or do they redo and come back for consent?
Well, I think that it's what we can do it in one of two ways. We can either have them make a shot at it on their own. We can have them meet with one or two of our members and then come back on consent, or we could have it approved with the planner in consultation with one or two of our members and the applicant, work it out. So they get their final, and then it's just probably the number of lights. So I think any one of those three have been utilized in the past. I don't care.
I
That's
mean,
the chairman.
my suggestion would be, Scott, to reduce this down. I think you probably know what we're talking about, to substantially less than what you have. You know, maybe we've got 3 on this path and maybe end up with 5 across the whole length here, you know, just as a rule of thumb, and reduce it down and then come back if you want to do that. If you'd rather, we can certainly set up a subcommittee, I suppose, type thing.
It sure sounds like you just volunteered yourself. Does anyone else want to volunteer themselves? So what I would like to do is to have a motion for final with the applicant, the planner, and Bill Wolf review the site lighting, and not be until everybody can come to a consensus. Would that be acceptable to everybody that's here?
Yes.
Okay, I will make that motion. And Danny, if during the same time, if you could get that iron rail, also the exterior rail, I'm sure you've got it. It's just, let's get it on the drawings. Is there any, so I will make that motion for final approval with the applicant, the planner, and Bill Wolf to work on the site lighting, with the applicant to provide a exterior iron rail for the planner and Bill Wolf's review and approval. And that's it. Is there a second?
I will second that.
Is there any further discussion, please? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Is there any abstentions? Thank you. So Danny, if you can work with Dara?
Yes.
And work out a time either virtually or in person, whatever works with everybody, okay?
Okay, great.
Now, I'd like to go to item number, Roman numeral number 2. Reconsider the circumstances of the COVID-19 state of emergency. Okay, so this is the deal. We can stay remote for a while until the state or the locals, the medical officer here in the county of Santa Barbara says COVID is basically gone. Or we can go to some kind of in-person meeting, or we can go to a hybrid. If it's in person, everybody needs to be there, except if you want to have your name and address published where you will be residing during the meeting and welcoming to anyone that wants to come into your office and or home if you're working out of your home. Now, there was an exception. I know Claire expressed a concern for wanting to get out of her house and into the meeting room. If we decide to stay virtual, David has talked to county council, and it is legal to have Claire go down to the meeting room by herself, maybe accompanied by Sharon, maybe not. I'm not sure exactly what that detail is, and still stay virtual. So I don't know what the board wants to do. We can stay this way. We can start meeting together. you know, and I wanted to have this enough time in the discussion so that everybody could get their opinions out, please.
So
Anybody?
John,
Yes,
I would then move from the small conference room
right.
into the our planning commission room where we used to hold them if one or more people decide. And then it would be open to the public as well.
Right. So I don't know if people want to stay all virtual, Claire, or one, maybe another one want to go down to the meeting room. What's up?
So, John, I have a question. If we go back to meeting,
Yeah.
Is mask required?
No, no longer.
But here's the other twist, Tip, and I apologize for not saying it. Apparently, there's a reasonably good computer at the desk that we used to sit at. We still need to deal with the PDFs like what Bill did today. We can have one member, let's pick on Bill. Bill can stay in his office, run the meeting from there, as long as he's willing to invite people or allow people to come in, and the rest of us can go down. Or one person, or maybe more, sit down at the lower table. It's my personal opinion that Bill and Dave are excellent at this, at the working of the drawings.
Very excellent.
And I would encourage us to use one of our own members rather than anyone else. So that person may, or there may be one or more people down on the lower table, and the rest of us could be up on the dais. So that's part of the discussion as well.
So my question also, if we go back to in-person meeting, what about the public? Can they do? Can we continue to do it online?
Yes.
Oh, so it's a hybrid. So even though we in the meeting room, the public can choose to do it from home.
Correct.
Well, you know, so if that's the case, I can tell you my opinion right now that I prefer to stay virtual online until everyone back in person. That's my position.
So you'd rather stay virtual?
Yeah.
So that I'm clear, are you saying if one wants to stay virtual and they're doing it out of their home office or their office, they have to have to let a
Public
citizen come and be with them?
Yes.
Pardon me?
Yes, I sent out an email, I hope everybody got it, with a big red portion. That's right out of the state law, period. We cannot, if we go back to meetings, we must follow that law. As long as we're virtual, COVID, we don't have to do that. Claire?
No, it's fine. Well, I was just going to say is that these meetings for Elida, they are public meetings. You know, they're you know, county council has something to say. All of that. You know, it's not just we don't get to decide.
Oh no, I understand that part, but if I stay virtual, if Tip stays virtual, we might have John Doe sitting next to us.
Yep.
Yep.
So it's all or nothing? If we're all virtual and then they can zoom in, the John Q. Public can zoom in on the meeting, but if we go a hybrid, John Q. Public can sit in my home office and sit in Tip's office?
Yep. So there's a special rule because of COVID that allows us not to have John Doe come into our house. But as soon as that rule goes away, we either choose not to do the COVID, or at some point the state's going to say, hello, no more COVID rule, get back in public. You're still permitted to be in your office or in your home, but you must permit anybody that wants to come in and attend the meeting with you.
That's nonsensical.
Well,
I understand.
so do people have Yeah.
I just feel that it's just too complicated trying to keep track of who's doing what, you know, either we do it one way or the other way, and I prefer to go back. If we are going back, or if we just stayed this way, it's been pre-organized, we get used to it. It's been 2 years now, and Dave is exceptional, Bill is exceptional, and John, you're doing great. So I don't have a problem.
So, Claire, do you have an opinion?
Tip, what you're saying is that you want to just go straight go back to virtual.
Yeah, just keep it away until we can all go back in person, and then the public will show up at the meeting room as the way we had it in 2019.
We can go back now. South County BAR is all back in the PC room.
Yeah, we can go back right now. You know, that's,
what about the public?
They can come. They will then come to the PC room, or they can stay at home or in their office.
Can we go to their office?
No, because they're not decision makers.
You're not. They're not on the board.
So
They're not appointed board.
Regardless, though, the direction is going to be no prints. Everything's electronic. We're
right.
PDFs. We'll be doing it either here when we're virtual or there when we're in person, but we'll be working on the computer, and there'll still be some connection to the outside world. Either personally they can come in, or they can connect in virtually as well. So
correct.
That's still. But I agree with Tip. I think, you know, if we're going to jump in and be in person, let's all jump in, I guess. I know, Don, I don't know what your take is on it. You're in and out of town, so maybe it's easier for you in some cases to be out. And certainly you're going to give them your address, and somebody from Colorado isn't going to show up, most likely.
But that's
Don't
true.
make a decision based on me, please.
Well,
it's much bigger than that.
We got to consider everybody, I guess. So.
Well, I mean,
Yes.
the reality is either if we're in the room and it, you know, then and Dawn is in Colorado, he's not at the meeting. He's just not there. You know.
Okay, so I also have sort of a hierarchical problem. I love everybody here, but I don't really want to be sitting that close to people for a while.
Yeah.
So what I'd like to, and I think that there's like 5 chairs up there anyway, we have 7 members. I'm thinking that if we go back, I'd love to have 4 up on top and maybe 3 in the bottom. Who's ever controlling the drawings will be down at our old table, so that we can keep some very real social distancing. I don't know if that's acceptable to everybody, but it's something that I think we can help protect our own health by keeping that social distancing apart. Any comments about that, please?
Agreed.
I think that's fine, but can we do this? Today's April 21st. Can we keep the way we're doing until, let's say, June, and then we revisit?
We can do this for as long as we want, as long as the state or the locals say there's a COVID emergency. And as of today, there is a COVID emergency.
I like to keep it at least until the second of the end of the second quarter, and then we can revisit and see what the state policy and what the CDC.
We don't have, when they cut that free tip, we have no choice. And nobody knows, you know?
Yeah.
So Tip wants to stay virtual. How's everybody else feel about that?
I vote for that.
And Claire, you can go down if you want.
No, it doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter. I'm more than happy to stay virtual up until the point that the state declares the emergency over.
Okay, Bill?
Agreed. I'll stay until the state tells us we can't.
And I'm done.
I agree, virtual.
Okay, and so do I. So given that, I would like to make a motion to continue meeting virtually for the next 30 days, because that's really all that's on the agenda. Is there a second for that, please?
I'll second that.
Is there any further discussion, please? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Is there a motion for adjournment, please?
I move that we close today's meeting.
Is there a second, please?
Second that.
All
And
those
it's
in
not
favor?
even 4:30 yet.
Aye.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Bill, excellent job on the drawings. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, John.
Thank you,
Okay.
Bill.
Talk to you
Thanks,
guys
John.
later.
Thanks, everyone.
See ya. Bye, Sharon. Bye,
Thank you.
Kimberly.